Good morning, afternoon, evening, and welcome to the Ginger Greek show, where Ginger Greek only shows up once a week. And today I'll be hosting for the next 3 weeks. I'll be and alongside me, I have the lovely Christine. How you doing?
Bonjour, mon ami, enchanté.
Very good, very good. And Gary, how you doing?
I do very well.
Fantastic. So there has been some interesting things that happened in the last 7 days throughout the world. Here in England, we've had St George's Day, and we'll definitely be talking about that a little bit later. But let's just start from across the pond, shall we? Or shall we start from here in London? Where do you want to go with Gary?
We could talk about the Scottish thing. We could talk about the London thing. It's up to you. Which way do you want to go, Zama?
Let's start. Let's fill us in on the London mayor race, mate.
So, it's Sadiq Khan. So Sadiq Khan has been fighting off different, like the Lib Dem bureaucrats. People think that the Conservatives are going to win. They aren't, because their policies are pants. That's just why. The only one who might do is what's the name of the blonde lady? I never can remember her name. So like Sonia or something like that. Anyway, she possibly could do it because she's got some regressive immigration policies, but the thing is that Sadiq Khan's immigration policies are more sensible. They're based upon numbers, about available spaces. They're based upon weird things called facts. Whereas hers are based upon the narrative that the media was put out about it.
Yeah. I know that. That's um, I think commonly used to. It's like scare tactic when it comes to immigrants. Hello, Ron. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. I need some pictures from that Mojave Desert of yours. I'm curious. So, Sadiq Khan, from what I've seen, he's using the ploy of bringing like entertainment back to London. Like he wants London to be the hub. I mean, at this moment in time, London, as a Londoner, I can tell you right now, it's a very frustrating place to be in. But if he can change things around and make London better, I'm all for it. But at this moment in time, as a driver, for me, London has become worse as a driver. Central London to be more precise, because they've basically turned a lot of roads into bicycle lanes, and they made some areas that you can't drive into until particular times of day or particular days or certain times of day. Like you can't drive there until 7 o'clock. The amount of times I've had to drop a customer maybe about half a mile from their location because I can't actually drive into that location. It's
There,
embarrassing.
there should be there should be exceptions for buses and taxi drivers, don't you
I am
think?
not. There is for taxi drivers, but I'm a private hire driver, and unfortunately, my boss, he did try to fight for us to have the same sort of privileges as black cabs, but unfortunately, he didn't win that case, and
Yeah.
so
So
we can't do that stuff, unfortunately.
because black cabs are run by the actual borough of London, whereas the private hire don't have that. Unfortunately, it's just different council. You still have to get a council permit to go into the things. I'm right with this, Sam. If I'm anything I'm saying wrong, please correct me, pal.
I don't know. I mean, like, I can go to any borough I want, and same with black cabs. They can. I mean, we can go to any part of the country we want, but they have just certain privileges, just generally, which means that they're allowed to. I mean, a black cab in London would have the same privileges if it ended up in Manchester, and there was a taxi area for in Manchester for taxis only, and the black cab could still do the same stuff there. If you know what I mean, it's a taxi thing. The universal word for people in my profession is like taxi cab and all of that, but theoretically, I'm not. I'm private hire. You have to book me online or book me over the phone to get me. Nobody can hail me off the street. That's not allowed. So yeah.
I have a question about hailing off the street. The many times that I've been to England, I've tried to hail cabs, and I've always been told you have to find a taxi rank to get a cab, and I just thought that was odd.
No,
Except for in London, where I could hail a cab.
With black cabs, you can just hail them off the street. It's with like private hires that you need to find a cab thing.
And look for the word taxi, because there could be a car that looks exactly like mine, but if it's got a big taxi sign on top of it, then it's no different to a black cab, and you can hail it, but it is legitimately a taxi. Because in other parts of the world, or in England, they don't have black cabs, but they still have taxis, which are still taxis like black cabs are. So you could still hail them because it's got the word taxi on it. But if my car doesn't have the word taxi on it, because I'm not, even though I get customers jumping into my car going to me, I just got myself a taxi. You know what I mean? It's just a universal term, but the reality is I'm not that. So you're on mute, Chris. Yeah.
I just said cool.
Yeah. So overall, like what Sadiq Khan has done for people like me in my profession, and even just general drivers, there's people who just happen to need to drive through London. He's made it very complicated, difficult. There's more traffic on the roads. Yeah, we pay something called a congestion charge because the whole point of the congestion charges is to stop people from driving into London. But if there is congestion and you're paying to have less congestion, then what the hell are you paying your money for? Because there's still bloody congestion, you know. So it's very frustrating. You know, there's traffic all the bloody time. I mean, people have even mindlessly forgotten about it because they're just so used to traffic all the time. And at the same time, the congestion charge is not fair for a lot of people because it's supposed to put them off from driving through London or driving around London, central London. I want to be more precise. But at the same time, you might not have a choice. You know, your businesses might be there, your clients might be there, and then you have to pay £5-10 every day to pay for that service. It's very annoying, considering that nothing has come out from the congestion charge. Things have gotten worse. There's more traffic. So why the hell are we paying it? You know, it's supposed to benefit cars. Yeah.
Is the congestion tax going to lower prices for the tube? Because that would be one way to actually fight congestion.
No, unfortunately. Look, the tube, unfortunately, is not privatized, but other like services have been, and their prices are never going down. And same with the tube in a way, like even government run schemes, you know, they're a lot of the time they can be run for profit, and like something like the tube, which isn't run for profit, it makes you wonder why there isn't new carriages and stuff like that, because you go into the tube and like so many of the carriages are rickety. Now they have built the Elizabeth line, and that would have probably cost billions, you know, to build the infrastructure of it, going under the city, making sure that you're not hitting a single pipeline whilst you're weaving a brand new tube line, not knocking over another tube line or whatever. I'm sure that would have cost a lot of money, but still, like they've had prior to that, you would have thought some things would have been redeveloped, but no.
For people that don't know, that haven't been to London, we have a tube system, the TTC in Toronto. It's very the lines are parallel. It's very simple. There's like 5 lines. It's not a spider web like London. It's very complicated. It's extremely complicated to build new lines where you're at, because the city is very old. It has infrastructure from when the Romans were there under the ground. So it is quite hard to build. But that I can only see it being an aid to add cars to trains to fight congestion so more people can ride the train. I don't understand why they don't take the money from this congestion. I should be a politician. I would actually solve issues. Anyway.
When you have go on, Gary.
But I do appreciate his goal to bring more sports, because that's going to bring more finance into the city itself. Because if you get WrestleMania, that means you're going to get a lot of people coming in giving the town money. You know, if you get the Super Bowl, that's at least a week's worth, if not 2 weeks worth of people, you know, putting money into
1 week.
It's 2 weeks. It's usually 2 week, mate. Trust me, as somebody who's an American football fan, I usually last about 2 weeks. people coming into town partying before the actual thing, going to all the flavor
But it'll be
events.
like 7 days, like so from the one weekend all the way to the next weekend. That's just one week, So you might have 2 Saturdays or 2 Sundays, but it's still 1 week. Maybe 8 days, maybe. Sorry, Chris.
No, go ahead.
You got to be very careful here, Gary, because I know that a lot of cities will give tax benefits and breaks to a private stadium to be built.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're using pre-existing stadiums, that's great because you will bring revenue to the city that you're bringing these sports into, even if it's just for a week or two, whatever it is. But if you're paying a company, basically not paying them, but cutting them such a tax break that it costs them nothing to build a stadium, and the guys that they're going to bring the WWF or whatever they're called now, and the NFL for a couple away games, that stadium's later going to be used by that private company for private engagements that they'll make money off of. At the same time, you're going to go see those events and pay money to watch from a stadium that you paid for. They're very sneaky, so just be aware of those things.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that we've got the Olympic Stadium, which is where I think it was West Ham still play at. I'm sure of that. And then you've got the new Wembley. So you've got stadiums that can easily hold the sort of things for a Super Bowl, for sort of things for. And
It'll be at Wembley Stadium. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Wembley Stadium is the biggest. And you want to be able to hold it at the biggest stadium and the capacity and everything. There's no point in holding it at the Olympic Stadium, or which is designed for athletics, by the way. It wouldn't be right. The infrastructure of Wembley is just far superior. And overall, like we've had sporting events in the last few years. In the last 12 years, we've had sporting events in London. We've had the Olympics in 2012. The only city, by the way, to host the Olympics 3 times is London, and we might host it a 4th because Sadiq Khan wants 2040 to host the Olympics. He's looking to book that particular year, and on top of that, we've had, even though we didn't host the Euros, we pretty much might as well have, because we had so many matches in London. England played, apart from one match. The England team played every match, including the final, at Wembley. And there was other matches as well, like Italy versus Spain, that was played at Wembley. And this was during the COVID period as well, where just at the tail end of COVID, where majority of people weren't able to travel. So most of the Italians and Spanish who attended that game happened to live in England, conveniently enough. So they all, and there were thousands of them, tens of thousands of them. So they were able to attend it, and I just see all of these sporting events happening, and I still don't see what benefit is brought to society. Like the Olympics. What has that? Honestly, what the aftermath of that? I can't see it. Like I can't say, as somebody who lives in the city and who's driven around that part of London, Stratford and stuff, I don't know what the Olympics has brought to London. So.
Well, it's supposed to. He says it's supposed to bring like infrastructure and renewed benefits for the economy. Now the problem was that you lot had to pay off that massive flaming Olympic Stadium, which cost, I think it was somewhere in the realms of was it 2 billion? I think $1 billion, maybe 2.
I don't know.
It was something like that. Anyway, it's something where I think most of the finance you got from the Olympics, unfortunately, went back into the paying off the stadium. So you were fucked. So and I think that's what Christine was talking about before. That you've got to be careful if you set something like that, because then because something like that needs to go into the city, into the people, into better transport, lower transport, which you could easily go into. I mean, you can even go into maybe getting people like yourselves who drive electric cars lower rates on your congestion charge, because you should be.
I pay no congestion charge because I drive an electric car.
That's what I was
But
supposed
but next year I will be paying, unfortunately, because you got that. Eventually, everything catches up to you. But like like the infrastructure that was created for the Olympics, just for the Olympics ain't the World Cup, but it's a 2 week sporting event,
Yeah.
And the infrastructure created for that was immediately knocked down, and there's not much, there's not much left over. You see the Olympic Stadium, obviously, because West Ham play in it. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, it's gonna wait. Gary was all excited.
Oh, so you see the Olympic Stadium, and obviously that's still around, but pretty much everything else is gone, and I just don't see what temporary sporting event. I mean, look, as a fan of wrestling and all of this stuff, yeah, I want it to come, but if people tell me it's going to benefit us, I don't see it. You know what I mean? People come in for a couple of weeks and then they fuck off. I mean, is that it? Yeah, like that's all it's going to be. Yeah, I mean,
if it's done in pre-existing structures, I could see it benefiting local restaurants and hotels for those week or two, and that's great. But something like the Olympics, I mean, yes, I enjoy the Olympics. I love it, but the amount of money, not just London, but other cities put into building these places where they can hold the events. Imagine those billions of dollars paid to actual Londoners or Romans or whoever, whatever city you're in, to work for years to repave roads, to build more tubes, to put up low income housing, to fix pre-existing World Heritage sites so that long-term people come to see your city. The employment people would get off of it, the housing people would get off of it. Oh, what a benefit. That money was just blown away for some entertainment. It's like that Greek saying, give them, what is it, bread and circuses or something like that, to distract the public from what's really going on. And that's what gladiators were for. When you went to see the gladiators, they gave you bread. They distracted you from what the government was doing. And that money is just frittered away when it could have done so much. And still you could have, increased sports facilities to an extent, but you could also have, made better infrastructure and employed locals to build those things and houses to house those people.
Yeah, I agree, and you really wish that was the case, and so which is why I personally have no hope for any of these sporting events benefiting society. I think it's just simply there for the top 1% to make as much money as possible. It's always been like that. We have sporting events happening in London all the time. We have Wembley Stadium in London. People come there to watch all types of sporting events. Not the Super Bowl, NFL matches are played there a couple of times a year. We have cup finals being played there all the time. There's revenue coming into the city. London being the city that it is, massive tourist attraction as well. All of these things, and yet somehow things feel so difficult for the average Londoner like myself. Everything feels so bloody expensive. I have not seen any, post Brexit. I have not seen anything being better for the average British person, and I do want to jump. Yeah, go on.
Every time I visit the UK, basically you land in one of three places. You land in Scotland, Manchester, or one of the two major airports in London. And if you land in London, I call it the city that sucks the money out of my wallet. You have to get the fuck out of there right away because you cannot afford to stay overnight. You can't afford to eat there. There's great things to see, but you better rush through and see those things real quick and get the fuck out and go see something else in the UK and live and stay somewhere else in the UK because you cannot afford to stay in London. You can't. I can't imagine how you live in London.
Well, my Canadian cousins, I remember him coming and like because of the exchange rate, he doesn't get much for his dollar when he comes over here, and yeah, everything's just fucking expensive for him, and I feel sorry for him. You know, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I love going to. I love back in the day prior to Brexit, going to Canada, America because our pound was roasting hot, and I would get serious money. I'll get $2 to a pound in America, and I think I would get more in Canada. Maybe it was $2.50 to a pound. I think.
It
So
was
yeah,
at one time the highest amount was 240. I remember that.
yeah. So yeah, I love going to that part of the world because I double my money, so it was great. But unfortunately, things have changed now. Our currency is becoming weaker, and there are a lot of dickheads in this world, and we will get to those dickheads very shortly with my St. George's Day special. But let's jump across the pond, shall we? Regarding what's been happening in the college campuses in America, because I've always said that some of the things America likes to brag about, like their freedoms and shit like that, it don't mean shit when you're on one side of the political aisle. I've always said that, for like freedom of speech is basically there for fascists. It's for them, freedom of speech, because right now freedom of speech don't mean shit if you're supporting Palestine. You're getting cops beating the fuck out of you. Calls for the National Guard. People like Benjamin Netanyahu are calling you Nazis and stuff like that. Even though there are tons of Jewish people who are protesting alongside the pro-Palestinian supporters. And we saw. I've shown you clips of Nazis roaming around, the streets of America, and they are allowed to do that because it's their First Amendment right. At times, some of these Nazis have had police escorts, and the police are protecting them, from the public, so they can express their First Amendment
Proud
rights.
Boys.
Not just Proud Boys, I mean proper Nazis, man. People with the insignia, brown shirts, all of these dickheads. But now, students who are absolutely fed up with the world they are inheriting, where they see their tax money going to overseas wars, helping I mean, I understand Ukraine are our ally, but you would think as an American that money is needed more in their own country first, and what's happening in Israel as well, like billions and billions are there for a genocide, and yet
Even
yeah,
before the war, they were
yeah.
sending money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, you always hear stories about, like Tupac did that song. We have wars for the Middle East, but I haven't got wars for food to eat or something. I mean, I'm paraphrasing his rap lyrics,
I know
but
what you're talking about.
you have all of this going on. The people, the young in America can see this. They can see what's happening. They're not oblivious to it. They can see that somehow, we care more about what a small little country in the Middle East wants than what we want. And they've had enough, and they're speaking out. And obviously we've had the TikTok ban as well, because TikTok is pro-Palestinian as well, or not pro-Palestinian, but it's not giving out watered down information like maybe other platforms are. It's also not an American-owned platform, and people might have shares and stuff like Meta or Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, and these places are not necessarily making money because Twitter is killing it now with the youth, and they're getting their information, and America just bans it, just like that, bans it, and they're also banning kids from protesting, arresting them. Some of them having to wear masks and stuff like that so they don't get kicked out of university. It's ridiculous, Chris.
Thanks for waiting patiently. I did hear what you had to say, and you're totally right. And I want to expand on that. I saw an interesting comment. There was a student being wrestled to the ground by like 3 cops, and a professor She was standing nearby asking, "What's going
I
on?
saw
Get
it.
off of him." She was then wrestled to the ground for doing nothing illegal, by the way, and then charged with assaulting a police officer.
Yeah, I saw
Funny
that whole
that,
clip.
eh? But the
Yeah.
comment was, man, we got to find out what country this is being done in and then go
Yeah.
to war with them so that we can have democracy for them.
Yeah,
And I
I saw
thought
that too.
that was like hammer, meat, nail, because that was bang on. That was bang on, that statement. I wish I could say that was mine, but it's not. But I can get behind that statement because it's exactly what Americans do to other countries. But at the same time, because they're hypocritical, due to their own people. And I don't understand why more people haven't woken up to this fact. They just bootlick the cops and say, "Oh, obey the cops, do what they say." It's like, no, look at what they're doing and question it, because that's your right, and what they're doing is wrong. So wake the fuck up. And when you were talking about sending Israel money, for many, many years, the United States have been sending them billions and billions of dollars, even before they were at war. And their population has free health care with
From
the American
tax. Yeah. I've said that so
American
many times.
taxpayers' money goes to free health care in another country. That's
all forms of socialism in Israel, by the way. So yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Gary, you want to chime in?
Yeah, like I mean, the thing is that the problem is that like there should be protect. I mean, surely this is covered under the First and Second Amendment for free speech.
Yeah, but I've always said it don't mean shit.
I mean, the ACU must be like looking the lips for this. It's literally like the things that they join, which is like people's civil liberties being put up for no good reason. I mean, like surely they'd be going, well, hang on a second, you're taking with these people free speech, which is their right to say, I agree with the Palestinians. Now, the thing is that the anti-Palestinian voices are being magnified, and the pro-Palestinian voices are being silenced. And nowhere in democracy is that okay. Both sides should be allowed to speak, and then the best side will win. The right side will win, shall I say?
Well, for a start, in the media. I mean, the media in America have always been pro-Israel. There have been moments here and there where they've questioned what the Israelis are doing, but overall, they have to support the narrative majority of the time, and like they are basically calling the students anti-Semitic. As I said earlier, there are Jewish people protesting alongside them, Holocaust survivors protesting alongside these kids, and that's obviously stupid. They're calling them Hamas supporters, anything they can to discredit these people. It's such disingenuous journalism. That's what annoys me the most, because if they were proper journalists, they would say exactly what's going on there. These people are supporting the genocide of the Palestinians by the Israelis, but they don't want to do that.
Journalism, sadly, does not exist anymore. It doesn't exist. I don't think one news station that I've watched can honestly say they're journalists, and that's sad and frightening at the same time. Can I also say something else about what's happening on campuses?
Yeah, please.
Okay. What I've also noticed, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is there's been nationwide protests on different campuses, yet the only ones that have experienced violence, guess what the common denominator is?
The police.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah,
give the man a prize.
It's always the police are supposed to discharge
peace officers.
Yeah, but they just can't. But unfortunately, American cops are like that. They just can't wait to start wailing on people. They want to abuse their power. It's always been like that with them. And when it comes to peaceful protesters, they're easy targets as far as they're concerned. You know what I mean? And we can not only beat the shit out of them, we can frame them as well. So that's how how it is with American cops. They just don't, they look at hippie liberals. I mean, how dare you? All of this sort of stuff. How dare
Like,
you support Muslims?
like that.
Don't you remember 9/11? All of these sort
Yeah,
of things.
like
So
that professor was charged with assaulting a police officer. If you
yeah,
watch the video, it is so not that. It is. Can you not be
I said.
any more trumped up charges? Can you not lie any harder? That's it's scary. The thing that's going to save her is that she's a middle class white female,
No,
and
but the evidence is
it's
there
on
as
video.
well. Yeah, the evidence is there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, fortunately they have the honor, because I sometimes think that even your privilege, your white privilege, will be. Wait, guys, your white privilege might be denied. Come here. If you're batting for the wrong team,
Or if you're
like.
poor and they don't have it on video.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to quickly show you a clip, because this is like kind of at the beginning of things, because one of the things regarding the United States is the separation of church and state.
Are we
You know,
moving on?
no, we're sticking with Colombia.
Okay, good, because
Okay,
I have
look,
more to
Colombia.
say.
Yeah, we are sticking with Colombia, but I just want to show you some of the things now that the ramifications from this,
Okay.
which is really pissing me off beyond belief. So let me bring this up.
Well, you're okay. You got it.
Why the hell is it like that? Oh yeah, sorry, that's why. Is that right? Is that working?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
see
yeah,
a guy. Don't hear him.
No, I got the wrong screen. Sorry, my bad. I got the wrong thing.
Well, while you're looking for it, I just want to say that again, I can't own this. It's not my thoughts, but I agree with it. Anytime a student protest happens and the government gets involved, historically, the government will always be on the wrong side. If you look at Ohio State, people that don't know the history should know that there was a lot of protests against the Vietnam War. Ohio State was one of them. There was a peaceful sit-in. The National Guard was brought in, and 4 students were shot to death. Neil Young wrote a song about it called Ohio. If you have time to listen, please pay attention to its lyrics. And that's what's going to happen soon. They've already talked about bringing in the National Guard. People are going to die because they're literally doing what America's supposed to be based on: peaceful protest and the right to assembly. And now their own government that's supposed to guarantee those things is going to squash it.
Daniel Vaughn says, my dad went at Kent State during the Vietnam incident. Yeah, and the Vietnam protesters were also, they were young, and they were pushed around too. And it upsets me that maybe those same protesters, if they are around today, a lot of them will be. What side are they on now? That's what I'm curious about. Anyway, let's listen to this, because this disgusts me. This it absolutely disgusts me, because there is no like, this guy genuinely thinks that he has a valid point because of his religious beliefs, and it really fucking disgusts me beyond belief.
To be cursed by God of the Bible?
This is Republican Rick Allen. Here we see him trying to use the fear of God during his questioning of Columbia University President Minouche Shafik about anti-Semitism on campus. Christian nationalism is on the rise in American politics, and on Wednesday, we saw him be a prime example of that.
Are you familiar with Genesis 12:3?
Probably not as well as you are, Congressman.
Well, it's pretty clear. It was the covenant that God made with Abraham. That covenant was real clear. If you bless Israel, I will bless you. If you curse Israel, I will curse you. And then in the New Testament, it was confirmed that all nations would be blessed through you. You do not know about that.
I have heard that now that you've explained
Okay.
it. Yes.
Do you consider that a serious issue? I mean, do you want Columbia University to be cursed by God of the Bible?
Definitely not.
Okay. Well, that's
Be
good.
insulting him
So
right now.
here's the deal. We got freedom of speech in this country and freedom of religion. Yet we also have Moses looking down on the entire body of Congress who gave us the law. Most of our laws were made and are supposed to be enforced, came from the original law. And what we have today is a lawless land. We have lawless universities that are overrun by people who are threatening to kill other students, who are attacking other students and creating fear in this country. And we have a constitution that requires us to treat other folks as we would like to be treated, which is also in the New Testament. Maybe you should have a course, and you don't have to believe it, but the Bible is an incredible book. There's a lot of history there, and you don't have to believe it, but you need to know what's in there. Maybe you should have a course suggested for those who are having problems with all of this on the Bible and what's in the Bible and kind of what will happen if, under the wrath of God. We have above the American flag in our chamber, "In God We Trust." I mean, what God is that? Do you understand why we're here? This is a serious issue. Young people are being indoctrinated by these professors to believe this stuff, and they have no idea that they're going to be cursed by God, the God of the Bible, and the God over our flag. Education is important, knowledge is important, but the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. I
Yeah.
yield back.
The beginning
Because-
of wisdom is the fear of God. I speak for all non-Christians and non-believers. Keep your God out of the fucking public square. When people ask me why I criticize something I don't believe in, here's why.
Education is important, knowledge is
All right.
important.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
You haven't finished
but
yet.
the
Sorry.
beginning
One-
of wisdom
18 seconds.
is the fear of God.
Dictating to us that we must fear your God is an authoritarian approach to forcing your dogmatic belief system onto the rest of us. Handmaid's Tale, here we come. These people need to be voted out of office.
I yield back.
Stay following you.
All right.
Okay, one quick thing. His whole point
Please.
that, with God, there'd be peace. Name me like more than a handful of wars that wasn't about religion. It'd be hard. Or that didn't say that God was on their side. That'd be nearly impossible. So religion doesn't equal peace.
I agree, guys.
Well, firstly, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. The whole point of the American system was for the entire thing to be secular, because they saw what would happen when you intertwined the religious state with the political state. That there's massive amount of interference, of power dynamics being unequal, of people being, because as much as a religious person myself, I understand that people can misuse it, and usually people in power use it as a tool to whip the masses into. And nobody understood that more than the founding fathers. So that's number one. Number two, In God We Trust wasn't introduced until 1953, so that's what 220 years that it wasn't on your flag. So that's going to be congruent. And three, you do not have the right to push your religious beliefs on other people and say, "Oh, this is what you was fear." Again, anti-Semitism has nothing to do with what religion you are. It's about a racial thing. Because the thing is that people for years have treated Jews as different because they're Jewish, whether it be because of religious ideology or because they just saw them as different, as being like a mongrel race. And I'm always using that because that's the words like that Hitler would use. They're a mongrel race, they're a secular race, they're a dirty race. These are words that he used to other them. So this is something, and unfortunately, the thing is that this guy must know that, again, universities do not deal with religion positively or negatively. It's strictly secular. They may do religious courses where they may talk about it, but they won't talk about religion as a whole because there are really religious students there, there'll be non-religious students there, and they've got to coexist for their educational betterment. There you go. That's my rant.
Just to expand, Gary, that was really good, and you're one of my favorite people, man. And the whole point, they even put "In God We Trust" on their bills and above their flags in the 1950s, was because of
Gretzky.
Russia at the time and it being communist. It was just another propaganda tool. It wasn't real belief anyway.
Yeah, propaganda is something the Americans are very, very good at when it comes to their own stupid people who are easily propagandized, and yeah, they fall for it. What annoys me the most by listening to this guy is how he feels like he has a serious point that he's making. You know, like, mate, you are talking so much shit right now, and you really feel like you're making sense, and
And
it was driving me
he deserves an answer.
exactly. Like, you know, he's using Bible quotes to justify his position to somebody who I believe is not even Christian. And
No,
so
she's a Hindu.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and yeah, I knew because yeah, I knew she definitely wasn't a Christian. So what the hell are you doing? And then like he's trying to influence the Bible into courses and stuff because he genuinely thinks that you're going to be cursed by God. He's that fucking oblivious, deluded, stupid. You know that these people are going to be all these heathens and other Christians are going to
But
be. Oh God,
the whole point of
yeah,
the nation of Israel is that it's not a country; it's a people. Right? The guy still quotes the Bible has not actually fucking read it. The whole point of the nation of Israel is that it's the Jewish people. They're the nation of Israel. That's why when they were thinking about setting up the nation of Israel, it was nowhere near where it is now. It's supposed to be like either Tanzania or some other country that isn't that populous, so that they could just move into it and grow the fucking thing. The only reason they moved into the Middle East is because they thought, oh, that will disrupt that part of the country. If you went to Tanzania, 47% of this problem is not there anymore.
well, just maybe move to Tanzania though. I mean, they would probably subjugate the people there. You never know. Like, they've got a history. Yeah, so
Tanzania doesn't have that many people. It has like a
I'm,
population of about 100 people tops.
I'm funny enough. My mom and dad are from Tanzania, ironically, but
Oh, there you go then.
I've been 8 times. There's quite a lot of people there, but you know, the Indian people there already. Like people like myself, we kind of rule the roost there. We kind of own a lot of things, you know, economic stuff like that. You know, people might look, you know, the way people might talk about how Jews run everything, how they might say that. I'm not saying that they do. They pretty much would say about how Indian people run everything in Tanzania. But honestly, as somebody who's Asian, who's Indian, we pretty much do. You know, I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there. You
Yeah,
know, but yeah, I'm just like I said regarding the particular person. Sorry, Chris, I'll get to you in a sec. Regarding the particular person, I'm absolutely infuriated that he has a job, that you know he can make decisions. Obviously, somebody like him is going to be extremely homophobic and fascist and bigoted, transphobic, all of these things. You can just tell by the way he's Bible bashing this Hindu woman who's like the dean of this particular university. It's very insulting. It's very annoying, and he needs to put his Bible away and talk to her in a secular manner because his religious beliefs doesn't mean shit to this woman. I'm really upset that this woman never spoke back to him and told him what a fucking idiot he is because I would have. I wouldn't be able to contain myself. Chris?
I'm sorry I put my hand up more than twice. I'm not sure if you see it. It doesn't mean
I
I'm
do.
rushing you. It just
I
means I'm
do.
like, okay, I'm here. I too am extremely upset by what this man is doing. He is so friggin' arrogant. The fact that he thinks that his particular flavor of religion out of the 2000 that exists today is so important that regardless of the fact that he's not supposed to bring it up because he's working in the government right now in a government role, he does it anyway. And on top of that, he's so arrogant that he expects her to agree with him and that he has a right to even, press upon her how he's right. He's there to ask questions to solve a problem. Yes, but your problem solving skills are not your religion. And even if they were, your job role specifically says you're not allowed. So you are not doing your job correctly. And either you know it, which means that you don't give a shit, and shouldn't be in that job, or you don't know it and you're so inept that you shouldn't be doing that job. The fact, I think she didn't say anything back, sadly, because if she even pushed back a centimeter, people would take that the wrong way and say, oh, look, she's anti-Christian. No, she'd be anti, this is stupid and not effective. What you're doing is wrong. But it'd be spun in America to make her look wrong and uses more ammunition against their pro-Palestinian protests to try and discredit what they're trying to do. And that's a sad fact.
I would really hope that, you know, there are people out there, even priests out there in America, who would see this guy and think, what the fuck is he doing? You know what I mean?
A couple.
Yeah. And I think a lot of Americans just generally would think, what the fuck is he doing? You know, maybe we're talking outside the Bible Belt, you know, but regardless, let's just get to a couple of comments here. Daniel Vaughn says this guy went up to just a Article 6 of the Constitution. Yeah, I you see what you do? You're just starting fights with everyone, man. Yeah. I thought. I mean, like what he just did there, she's getting kicked out of the office. Like, you know, it really is. It's like, what the hell was that? That was just beyond. You know, and this is why I laugh at the separation of church and state, because, you know, for a long time, for the last 20 years, I've been laughing at it, because you get like presidents sworn in on the Bible, for Christ's sake. I mean, if there is a separation of church and state, that shouldn't have happened. Anyway, no, don't shit on me. Don't shit on me. Go over there. The guy that felt he deserved an answer because the Bible commands women to submit. Yes. So yeah, fair enough.
This person's interpretation of that.
He not only had the balls to do that where he wasn't supposed to be doing that, he then suggested that she should run her university according to his own beliefs.
Yeah.
Not only his beliefs, but he's not qualified for that job. He's obviously not qualified for the job he has now. What makes him think that he could run a university, let alone tell people that they have to study his religion?
It annoyed me because these fuckers in these positions of powers and influence, who can basically make or break, you know, certain policies by a stroke of a pen, they're going to regress America more than it's already regressing. You know, the people like him should never be in power in the first place. Never. Check this out, by the way, because, you know, people are saying when it comes to these protests, no Jewish person is safe. Bullshit.
Well, I'm Jewish and I'm here and I feel very safe. I actually feel very at home in this crowd of people who just want peace.
As a Jewish person in London at weekends, I don't believe these statements that it's unsafe.
Absolute rubbish. I've been here every Shabbat with my kippah on. I've had nothing but love, nothing but welcome from everyone I've spoken to. The idea that London is a no-go zone for Jews is just for the birds. It's rubbish.
These Jews have come out specially. There were 500 of us meeting outside Belgrade Square. We've all come here on purpose to show that that's rubbish.
Politicians are pushing it as just basically propaganda and to push their own narrative, to pretend that another voice opposes the genocide going on in Gaza, to try and weaponize anti-Semitism to a degree.
We've been sold a false narrative. And I think it's really important for Jews everywhere to stand up and say, I'm not okay with this. And this is not being done for me.
Jewish people are not a monolith. They all think the same. There's thousands of Jewish people who feel very comfortable in London and the events in Gaza right now.
I've got a poster showing that I'm Jewish, that I'm supporting peace with Palestine, and I feel so welcome. People are really grateful that me and the rest of the Jewish bloc are out today. I've not experienced any anti-Semitism or anything that's made me feel uncomfortable.
There's always this talk about people feeling uncomfortable when people draw attention to what's happening in Gaza. But we're feeling uncomfortable about what's happening in Gaza.
There's genocide in Gaza.
Indiscriminate killing of men, women, children in Gaza.
As a Jewish person, as a human being, I know that using starvation as a weapon of war is immoral, it's illegal.
having gone through what we've gone through as Jews in history, we should understand what it's like to be persecuted.
We come from a people who have been targeted and persecuted and genocided in the past, and it's quite painful, I think, to feel like this is being undertaken in my name.
Judaism and Zionism are not the same thing.
Ethnic cleansing is fundamental to the Zionist project.
It certainly does not reflect my Jewish values, which are life for all people.
Even our own foreign secretary is talking about how frustrated he is with the Israeli government starving the Palestinian population. It has to end now.
Stop the genocide! 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 Stop the genocide!
Yeah.
I'm Jewish and I'm here.
So that's just a reflection of what's been going on when it comes to a lot of these protests around the world, because there are Jewish people in these protests. You saw a whole bunch of Jewish people. Not one, they go to these protests on a regular basis. They are marching alongside, Muslims and Christians and non-believers and everything, and they all have the same ideology, which is, okay, we need to stop the genocide in Gaza, and they believe it, and they don't want it in their name. They're anti-Zionist because Zionist is bigotry, it's some form of supremacy, and they don't want to be associated with that. It's really good. It's humbling to see, people, Jewish people especially, marching against this. And you see that. Sorry, you only see that here in the UK. You see that in America too. There's loads of them. So yeah, go on, Chris.
I was just going to say, the Zionist government is using the handbook of the Nazi Party, pushing people out of their homes with what they can carry, putting them into towns or ghettos, keeping them there, not letting them leave, starving them to death, destroying their property or taking their property because they're not in their homes anymore. I mean, this is textbook leading to what is going to be even more horrible. That it's already horrible. But why don't more people see this line, this progression of little steps that is going directly where we know it's going? Why doesn't the entire world see it?
Yeah, I agree with you. And what I find the most fascinating is the power structure on this, because there are like Muslim countries like, say, Saudi Arabia, who are very much in the pocket of America, but honestly, they might pretend to give a damn about the Palestinians, but they don't. And there are other countries like that too, who very much rely on America for various reasons. And so they're not going to they're going to probably side with Israel more, undercover than they would do with the Palestinians. But what I'm finding fascinating now is the power structure here, because the people are saying one thing and the powers that be are saying another. And it's going to be very interesting to see who wins this, because these protests are not stopping. People are still marching, so we'll see how this pans out. Yes, Gary.
Yeah, because I was physically training last week, and then a whole bunch of people doing an anti-Palestine, anti-Israel march was that way. And a lot of Jewish people, because there's a big Jewish community in Manchester, were with them, saying no, do have the same side Jews against Israel, Jews for Gaza and stuff like that. It's just it's so cool that these people are getting out there and literally saying, no, we just want peace now. And it is just so great to see that people are now finding their voice, even in the community where maybe they're getting called anti-Semitic, even though they're Jewish, they're getting called anti-Semitic. It's just no, I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm actually Jewish. It's just that I don't agree with that action there, which is perfectly fine. We can all disagree with the actions of Israel. It doesn't make us anti-Semitic. It just makes us human,
And the anti-Zionism is the main key. People like Muslims who are against fundamental Islam. It's the same thing. and these Jews are obviously against the anti, and it's not just secular Jews. There's Orthodox Jews as well who are anti-Zionist. You see them, with their hats and their curly sideburns and all of that sort of stuff, and they are very, very much against the state of Israel, because as far as they're concerned, Israel goes against their religious beliefs, because I believe God or Moses will come down and hand them Israel.
God.
Yeah, and that hasn't happened. And you know what? As a secular guy, that's never going to happen, as far as I'm concerned. It's like Jesus coming back in the rapture. It's never going to happen, regardless. That's what I personally believe, but that's what they believe too. So then to have it, given to them by the government, they feel that this is an abomination. And it's crazy that so many Jews are divided on this. The ones who obviously want Israel and the ones who think it shouldn't exist.
There's a huge movement in the southern United States with evangelists, Christian evangelists, not all of them, Gary, but some of them. There is a certain pocket that actually raise money and funds to send more Jews to Israel. Do you know why? Because according to their Bible, it says once Israel becomes a Jewish state, or there's enough Jews, there's a number of Jews that have to be there, the rapture will begin. How sick and twisted is that you want the rapture to happen? You want people to be raptured. That means some people are going to heaven, the rest will remain on earth, and the remainder of their time they'll live out a miserable, horrible, painful life and then go straight to hell. That's what
twisted,
these
deluded.
people are hoping for.
And what annoys me is the position of power they have in our governments, that these deluded fucktards can create.
That guy
a system.
was probably one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And they're able to create this system, where they can they are genuinely believing that this shit is going to happen, and they're in positions of power. It boggles my mind. It really does. There could be so much good going on in the world, but they want the world to end. Oh God, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tries to force the rapture by maybe hitting a nuke. But maybe we should just nuke Israel or something like that, or nuke Gaza, or nuke another country, But that was it is very refreshing to see
enlightened people.
Jewish people doing the right thing. So
it makes me feel a lot better, because I know when I was always atheist, but when I first came out into the community, I was a little bit bitter, and I guess was very, very judgmental, and did put people into a box, and other people of different religions, that is. But it lightens my heart to see that there are still people that with their faith still can be rational. I'm not saying religion is irrational, but the two can coincide. They can say, yes, I believe in a God, but I also don't want other people to follow my religion unless they want to. And I'm not going to use this belief to allow atrocities to happen. So it certainly is refreshing and hopeful to see communities, including the Jewish community, come out in support of the Palestinians.
Well,
sorry, just a quick comment here. Until it's on your front doorstep, most people don't truly register a situation.
Correct.
I am, and I agree and I disagree, because when Trump had that coup on January the 6th, a lot of Republicans were shitting their pants because people like Mike Pence was possibly going to get hanged and all of this sort of stuff. They were out for blood. They were out to kill these all these politicians. They didn't really give a damn what side of the political aisle you were on, as long as they got their hands on you. And if they got their hands on people like AOC and stuff like that, bonus. I mean, she would have been dead if they got their hands on her for sure. You know, God knows what would have happened to her. But the point is, sorry, so my point I'm trying to get is to Daniel Vaughan's comment about truly register a situation, is that even though they might register it, they can still fall back in line, which is what many of the Republicans have done when it comes to Trump. You know, people like Lindsey Graham were shitting his pants. Now he fall back in line. You know, even Mike Pence, you know, he's only 50-50 when it comes to his criticisms of Trump. Trump tried to have him killed, for fuck's sake. Bill Barr, you know, wouldn't go with the coup, but now he'll still vote for Donald Trump, even though Donald Trump has called him a fat cunt. Not in those words, paraphrasing, but you know what I mean. So it makes me, you know, so I think with certain people, like, you know, they think once the dust is settled, they can get back to business as normal, and they never learn. They just never learn. But Gary.
Well, one thing I'd say is that you can make things register even if it's not on their front doorstep. Because look, for example, what happened with people's attitudes to apartheid, for example. There was a slow sort of creep towards people treating that as a social pariah, like as a social pariah state. Like, for example, for years and years, there was denial about, oh, it's not that bad, blah, blah, blah. And then the tide started to turn slowly but surely towards them becoming a social pariah. And because of that, that's what instituted the change there, is that they became a pariah on the global stage. But that's number one. Number two, a lot of Christians, and I talk about one, aren't annihilationists, so they don't believe in the rapture. Like a lot of Catholics are. Yeah, and the thing is that people like this are dangerous. And it's not because of their religion; it's because they believe that they need that something big needs to happen for the rapture. I'm like, dude, if you believe that, you're dangerous. And I don't rarely say this, but you should not be in power because you believe something that you need to take action for the end of the world to happen. I'm sorry, that is dangerous. All right,
Gary, like religion, unfortunately, in your part of the world has been not in your part of the world, in America has been done with like razzmatazz and showmanship and stuff like that. That's why you have these big mega churches where you have all these performances going on and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost been plagiarized into something else by somebody basically saying this is Christianity, but it isn't. And that's why you have stuff like the rapture and stuff like that, and all this bigotry and all the forgive me for saying, but all the woke stuff of Christianity is frowned upon. You know, they like the stuff that which basically takes away people's rights and shits on people, like all the anti-gay stuff. You know, but love thy neighbor, you know, and all of these sorts of things, give away your wealth. Well, they don't want to fucking acknowledge that shit, do they? Ever, you know? But they want to acknowledge the rapture because somehow death is more sexy.
Yeah, and they all believe they're the ones going to heaven.
Yeah.
Right? And seem to glaze over the fact that people they love and know are going to burn eternally in hell. And they're still okay with that. And I'm not, Gary, I'm not saying all. I'm saying there's a certain group in the southern states, mainly, and not even all of the Christians there. But there is a group that have been actively trying to do this, and it's unsettling to say the least.
Chrissy, trust me, I don't. I don't know you're not aiming it at me. I know you're aiming it at these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the nutcases. These are your Al Qaeda, Gary. You know what I mean? But anyway, check this out. But I did find an American Jewish person who's pro-Palestine. Let's listen to him.
I'm a Jewish student at Columbia. When we talk about anti-Semitism on campus, that's taking the spotlight away from Gaza, away from Palestine, and the Palestinian students on campus, and putting it back onto me. I am perfectly safe here, and this has all been a distraction because they don't want us talking about the nonstop massacre of Gaza, of Palestinian civilians being taken out by the IDF. I grew up being taught that Israel was an important part of my Jewish identity, and part of being a Jew was supporting Israel. So I was a Zionist. And then I met a Palestinian for the first time and heard their perspective, and was able to realize that I was on the wrong side of this, that I'd been taught the wrong side of this. And to me, calling in the police was an act of desperation. They know where the students stand. They saw the students come together to support their suspended and arrested friends. We see that other universities are following in our footsteps, and we welcome them. We just want to make sure that they do it in solidarity with Gaza and with Palestine, and that the focus is not on us. But we hope that this can be an important step in the liberation of Palestine and an end to the occupation and an end to the genocide. I'm a Jewish student at Columbia. When we talk about anti-Semitism,
so there you have it. You know, here's a guy who is basically saying how it is. You know, he's Jewish, he's pro-Palestine, and he doesn't feel scared whatsoever.
And how people are trying to discredit or throw smoke in your eyes and say, "Oh, this is anti-Judaism," instead of let's look at the actual problem. This has nothing to do with that, but let's throw those words out there to make you, not want to examine the truth.
I agree. Because the thing is that with what he said is that he was brought up to be a Zionist, but meeting the Palestinian, hearing their perspective, changed his point of view. And I like that. I like the fact that he was open to having his mind changed in that sort of way, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find. Sorry, if you can keep going. I'm just trying to find this one clip of this one person. Oh man, standing alone.
Well, every time you hear someone try and make it sound like anyone who stands against the Israeli government and make it sound like you're being anti-Semitic, you have to very calmly, very intelligently explain and ask questions of this person so that they get it, because yelling at them or swearing at them is just going to reinforce what they've been told, the lies they've been told already. So come up with a plan, come up with the truth, because that's all we need, and go about it in an understanding, and I know it's hard to do, but an understanding way. I did it today with the guy who plows my driveway, because we had a discussion about this when I was paying him for the winter plowing. He came by and he started talking about how bad Hamas was and the human shields. But then I dug a little deeper with him, and then I brought up things that he hadn't heard. And then by the end of our conversation, I might not have enlightened him completely, but I at least got him to the point where he's starting to question, what information he's getting and why he's getting that information and why specific words are being used, and the difference between Zionism and Judaism.
I'm trying to find this one clip, but I can't really find it. But I've seen it so many times, which annoys me that I can't find it. But basically, you got all these pro-Palestine protests, and there's this one lone Jewish girl who's pro-Israeli, and she decides to stand in the middle wearing Jew on the front of her shirt and Israel on the back of her shirt. And I think her boyfriend or husband is filming her. And they went there to basically start some shit, hoping that by standing out and being the sole person there, that people will come up to her and fuck her over or whatever, and beat her up, and they can film it. No one did shit to her. They just left her alone and were minding their own business. And she's desperate for it, And that's what was so funny, because they never got the attention they wanted.
Yeah. Act like she's a pebble in the middle of a stream and you're the water, and just walk around her. Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that they just went, bye. And that's what you got to do. It's like, if they're looking for reaction, give them none, and that probably brings counter to what they want to prove.
Oh, for sure. Of course it is. You're right, Gary. That's it's so much better to not even to talk to someone like her. I mean, I can talk to Andy, my driveway plow guy, right? Because it's not being filmed. We're not, going to make it to the news. We can have a little bit of a disagreement. It's not going to be blown out of proportion, and no one's going to say that I represent an entire group or he does. But she went there specifically to blow this up and get a certain message that isn't even true broadcast to the world. And the best thing they could have done in that situation is what they did was not even approach her and go around her.
And
That's
there
awesome.
are propagandists who make it on news like Piers Morgan and stuff, who is so full of shit, by the way. He drives me nuts. But they're filming protesters, and one person walked by and had a Palestinian flag, and she claimed that this person poked her in the eye with the flag. And that's not true, because you saw the clip. There's no chance of that happening to her. And then you see her and you think to yourself, if you've been poked in the eye, I can't see anything on your face or your eye that makes you look like it's been poked whatsoever. So you just know they're talking shit.
Yep.
If
I were poked in the eye with a flagpole, I'd be at the hospital.
Yeah. So I got one more clip, by the way, before we move on from this subject. And this is like the irony upon ironies. Just check it out.
Conservative Christian leaders are calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to stop a bill proposed by members of his coalition to make it criminal to tell people about Jesus in Israel. Our Jerusalem correspondent Daniel Cohen is live near Tel Aviv with more. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Allison. Good morning, everyone. A big story just before days before Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and Easter. Sacred time for Christians. Two ultra-Orthodox members of Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition have introduced a bill that would punish believers for sharing the gospel of Jesus with prison time. United Torah Judaism Knesset members Moshe Gafni and Yaakov Asher introduced legislation last week making it illegal to share in conversation or produce content online, in print, or by mail. Their explanation of the bill emphasizes a warning to stop Christians in particular.
Call that tax
the
money.
punishment, 1 year in prison
Monorail
or 2
system.
years for sharing with someone under the age of 18. Joel Rosenberg is the host of the Rosenberg Report and editor-in-chief of All Israel News. He's also a Jewish follower of Jesus.
Obviously, Jewish people don't agree with Christians, evangelicals or others, about who Jesus is, right? We all know that there's a theological difference, but evangelical Christians and other Christians have been so supportive of Israel and the Jewish people. So to silence, to muzzle, and gag even Israelis like myself and others to say, you can't talk to another person about your faith and why you believe it, that is terrible. That is not freedom.
It's fascism.
Although he doesn't agree theologically, Netanyahu has always been a strong friend of evangelicals, speaking at meetings and believing freedom of speech and freedom for Israel's small Christian community should be protected. Now, should this bill gain traction, it could spark a serious clash with the 60 million evangelicals in the United States and 600 million around the world. Gafni first introduced a ban on evangelism in 1999. It went nowhere. United Torah Judaism is in a stronger negotiating position now, though, since Netanyahu needs to keep the party in his coalition, or it could threaten Netanyahu's ability to remain in power. Allison, back to you.
Daniel Cohen, thank you so much.
Textbook fascism. Textbook.
This is on Newsmax of all places. But I've seen clips on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and on TikTok of Christian people doing their Christian things around areas like Bethlehem and all of that, because that's what they do. And there's Jews everywhere, and these guys are walking past these Christians and they're spitting on them.
Yeah.
These have you seen that? You tell me you've seen that.
I've seen it, and even attacking physically.
Like, just mind your own business. I see, it was Greek Easter the other day, and there's a whole bunch of, Greek Catholics doing their thing. I'm just minding my own business. Let them do their thing. That's it. But these Zionists, and these ones who are spitting are Zionists, because I don't think a regular Jewish person would do that,
Wouldn't give a fuck.
They wouldn't give a fuck, exactly. So these Zionists are seeing Christians doing their Christian religious beliefs, saying, for particular part, and Israel is a big deal for them, religion-wise, and they for them, as far as they're concerned, they're no different to the Palestinians. I don't want to share my country with you. even in the religious sense. They don't give a damn how much money Christians in America give us. Fuck you guys. Yeah, Chris.
I was just gonna say, after seeing those videos, because I've seen them for years, I've seen different videos like that of indoctrinated Zionists that believe that they are the master race, basically, doing that to other religions and other races too. So when I'm told, and I've seen videos since then, that Israeli military members are, slaughtering people and hiding it from the media, or at least trying to, no reason other than they're Palestinian, and some of them were children too, would just bash their heads in or shoot them. Of course I believed it. I later saw evidence of it, but immediately I'm like, yeah, they'd do that. Not Jews, but the Zionists, yeah.
Exactly. So
basically fascism.
Yeah, they'll screw over the Muslims first if they can, or the Palestinians to be more precise. Get the Christians to basically bend over backwards and do everything for them, and they also won't give the Christians jack shit. Won't give them anything. I mean, the fact that they are creating bills, to make Christianity a criminal offense, it says it all. It really does. There's so much for being the only democracy in the Middle East, Gary.
I mean, this is ridiculous because the thing is that because it's not just there's literally like what's the word? Fucking hell, my brain just went blank. Like tourist attractions there, and I hate the word tourist attractions, but like the tourist places where people go, which are holy Christian sites, like for example, the place where Jesus was supposed to have been.
Bethlehem.
Yeah. Well, not just Bethlehem, but like there's literally an entire river where apparently that's where Jesus would do a lot of his baptism, and a lot of Christians now do the same sort of ceremony where they put people over. A lot of Christians, not in only Jerusalem, but also Egypt, Ethiopia, Syria, Lebanon, all these other countries where Christians happen to be in the Middle East, go there for a pilgrimage to have that done to them, to basically get baptized. And the thing is, it's a really big thing. So what they're going to start doing, cording off the Wayne River. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
I just go there all the time to bathe or whatever, and nobody gives a fuck because it's literally like dunk. There you go. Then you had the same thing done to you what Jesus used to do. Boom. Who cares? Go over there.
It's funny how that you're right, and that I don't put it past them. But think about again the Nazi Party. They shut synagogues. They closed synagogues. Now, what is this government doing? Going to close churches. It's going to make it illegal for you to even talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'll be right back.
yeah, no problem. But yeah, that was like our look on the Israel-Palestine conflict at this particular moment in time, especially when it comes to people who are speaking out in America right now. Is pretty much there's no such thing as freedom of speech when it comes to talking against Israel. It's funny in a way you can actually talk against America a lot more than you could talk against Israel, ironically enough. And it's weird in a way because I don't ever want to align myself with anti-Semites because there are a lot of anti-Semites who have an issue with Jews just generally, but they're anti-Semites. I have no issues with Jews. I have issues with Zionists, and I have issues with the state of Israel indiscriminately bombing Palestinians. So that's my issue right there. And a lot of people who are against me are, funnily enough, Zionist Jews, Christians, and at the same time, ex-Muslims, funnily enough, Gary, because they feel, without me being an ex-Muslim myself, I still know the difference between right and wrong. And because a lot of ex-Muslims I know, through certain sites, think that anything Muslim is or anything Islamic is totally stupid. I agree with them to a degree, being a non-religious person, but then they will not side with Muslims on anything, like this, because they thought they have to side with the Jews or the Zionists because anything Muslim is abhorrent. It's ridiculous.
that's bigotry footwear. That's bigotry footwear, which makes you no worse than the flaming extremist Muslims that you probably were against in the first place.
Yep. I know.
Also, the word is hypocrisy. Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird like that. Like, you're so against a particular ideology that even when the ideology has it's got nothing really to play at. I mean, when it comes to Palestinians, they're not all Muslims, by the way. There's Palestinians who are Christians as well. Tucker Carlson
the Jewish people are Palestinians, for God's sake.
Yeah, and Tucker Carlson brought this up, by the way, ironically, talking to a Palestinian priest who was saying that his people are getting bombed by the Israelis, because they are Palestinian Christians. And now this makes America look really stupid because them being a majority Christian nation, they're bombing the people of their own religious beliefs. They're right to put, Muslims are always a fair target as far as they're concerned. But you're bombing Christians now. Well, that doesn't look too great, even if they're brown. You know what I mean? So, they're not happy about, like they want Tucker Carlson to shut the hell up. And I despise Tucker Carlson, but on this particular issue, I'm very cautious on this particular issue because he's solely batting for the Christians here. He doesn't give a shit about Palestinian Muslims. Doesn't give a shit about them whatsoever, or other Palestinians of whatever denomination they may be. He's only batting for the Christians here, so he's been very subjective. That's all. But it is still putting a spotlight on the American Christians who want to support other Christians now having to acknowledge the fact that they're killing Christians at the same time and they're paying for it. So, yeah. Anyways, let's move.
Our blood's all the same color.
Exactly, regardless of the type. So, I'm really upset that Ginger's not with us today because he would have really loved it. Because I created a segment just for the recent St. George's Day, which passed. And Daniel Vance, I hope you're still with us, mate, because you're gonna love this. You guys ready?
Always ready.
Oi, geezer, cunt, cup of tea, love. Cheers, governor. Stupid English cunts, wanker. All right, because it's like St. George's Day is, if anybody doesn't know, St. George is the patron saint of England.
Yes.
And his day came around, but you can rest assured that every racist wanker in this country is like on the streets, going on about St. George for various reasons. Now, first of all, let's get this one guy out, the good guy. I want to get the good before we get to the bad news. Let's get to the good news first. I saw this one particular clip, and this guy is not part of the stupid English cunts, but nevertheless, I just want to show it because it is aligned with the stupid English cunts, even though he's not part of it. Here we go.
I fucking hate England. This place sucks. The majority of people that I've met in England that are English, well, not all of them, obviously, you can't speak for everyone ever, but there's a good portion of them that are just horrible people. The government sucks. The weather's awful. The job market's terrible. We get paid terribly. I mean, obviously the NHS now was really good, and now it's not being funded nearly enough. But when can it ever be funded enough? I don't know. No, I'm not particularly proud to be British, and we've got awful stereotypes for the rest of the world. I mean, we're the most obnoxious twats when it comes to holidays, and it's just horrible. We refuse to learn other people's languages, and it's disgusting. No, I'd rather be French. I fucking hate England. This place.
That's honestly, that's for an English person to say you'd rather be French. That is saying something. You know what I mean? But I thought I'd start off the old clips there. I got a couple of clips. So regarding recent protests that happened.
Oh, sorry, I was going to bring some up, but if you want to do this, it's right.
No, go on, bring it up.
Right, so I had an argument with somebody on Facebook because they're going on about pride marches, going on. St. George's Day isn't celebrated enough. I went, mate, there's a St. George's Day parade. Actually, there's two St. George's Day parades. He went, well, nobody went to them. Well, that's your fault. You know, with the best world of the world. If you don't go to these parades and then moan about the fact there's no parades, that's your fault. Sorry, go on.
St. Patrick's Day gets celebrated more in the UK than St. George's Day. So in England, I apologize, not the UK. In England, more than yeah, you know, it's all about the drinking and culture, isn't it? Anyway, let's jump straight into this clip. I might show this clip twice, but from different news sources. So forgive me if that's the case. But here's one of them.
Police horses being hit in the middle of violence at London's St. George's Day celebration. The Metropolitan Police deployed extra officers to say far-right groups and groups linked to football clubs travelled from around the UK to celebrate near Whitehall. They tried to force their way through police, who pushed back, even using police horses to control the crowd. And this was all an hour before the event was even supposed to begin.
I can tell you this right. I can tell you this right now. Every single person who attended that march voted for Brexit. Every single one. I guarantee it. So I got another. I got.
And why? Sorry, I have a quick question, statement question. If St. George's Day is supposed to celebrate being English, why aren't you just having a parade? What you're really doing is going out and being hooligans, not you guys, but these guys, to prove what? That you hate people that aren't British. Not that you're enjoying and celebrating being British, because if so, you just have a parade.
Yep. Sorry, my bird just shit on me. Oh, God. I hate it when that happens. Get off me. Don't look at it. Don't eat my cloth. Don't eat the cloth, man. Don't eat the cloth. I'm using the cloth. It's got disinfectant in it, dude.
Wrong way.
So here's an interesting one. Let's see if we can make so for a couple of minutes. It might not necessarily be 100% clear, but St. George's Day, and there's a black guy. Because when it comes to the march, by the way, you won't see a single person. Well, you might do. You might get the odd ethnic minority there, but it really is like looking for where's Wally. You know what I mean? And ironically, you have to be the fucking Wally to be amongst those dickheads in the first place. But here we go. Check this out. The white guy on his right is with the black guy. They're together. Scousers.
We want to get teammates.
I want to get a knife.
It depends who he is.
I'm a knife. I'm the knife. Pick up knife. So what we're saying is,
you put what for how?
Let's pick up knife. My family likes this. We're in it. This
Tell me that you're awful, you
We can't together here under one flag. We're in What? No, I'm on TikTok, bro.
Yeah, you are on TikTok.
Have you seen me on TikTok? I'm a nice, yeah. I'll have a chat, yeah. Oh, you want to have a chat? Go on, wait. Hello, mate. How you doing? Yeah, go on, brother. Yeah, I hear. Fuck you, slow. Yeah, go on. No. You got it.
What drugs do you want? Yes,
Be
yes.
peaceful, bro. Yeah, go on.
This is St. George's Day.
Yes.
So what are you coming for now?
I'm having fun, bro.
You have fucking fun. What? You having fun of us, mate?
No.
You having fun of us, mate?
No, man.
This is fucking England. This is fucking England. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm fucking English.
Calm down, mate. Calm down.
I'm fucking English, man.
Bro, what the fuck are
What
you
are you fucking
talking to me?
filming for?
Hey, leave me alone, bro.
What do you leave me alone?
Come here, talk to me, bro. Wait a second, bro. What do you want to say, bro? What is he chatting? He's angry. What's going on? I don't know what he wants, bro. Yeah, come on, I'll touch you, man. Yeah. How you doing, bro? Oh, you got What's your name? Yes, bro. Zanji. Zanji, yeah. Yes. So what's your purpose of being here, man? No, just been around.
So a lot of these, unfortunately, these dickheads, they feel somehow galvanized to pick on people who look different. It's St. George's Day. Today's the day I'm going to be a racist dickhead today. You know what I mean? Like, I'm English, mate. What does that make you? It's like, all right, whatever.
I hate to. Sorry, so go ahead, Chrissy.
I have a question. Why isn't St. George's Day supposed to be celebrating England and English? Like, people are born there of different colors.
Yes.
Like, it's not I'm a racist dickhead day, although it's been turned into that, obviously. But it was very hard for me to hear what people were saying because of background noise and thick accents. So if you could just give me a synopsis, what those chicks were saying.
I'll translate from Walmart. All right, what they were basically saying, they were basically asking whereabouts he's from. They're going, oh, you what you do in St. George's Day parade? Don't you know it's celebrated in England in English? You are English. Where you from? That's basically what they were saying.
But he had an English accent.
I know. But they because he's black, he can't possibly be English.
Oh.
Now, I hate to be the one who bursts these people's bubbles, but there are black people in England long before the 1960s.
Yeah.
We're talking like Roman times. But Roman times, they bring like, because anybody could be a Roman citizen. So people from like places like, Ethiopia, Egypt, places like that could go to flaming England and live there.
And yeah, like once again, these guys are just racist as fuck, and they feel galvanized to be racist on this particular day, and they're stupid. And these are the same people who blame immigrants for everything and anything, not realizing who the real, where the problems really lie. And at the same time, if you tell them about where the problems lie, they admire that level of evilness and bullshittery. They just want to shit on immigrants. They've been programmed. Anyway, check this one out.
Have an identity. It's been eroded, been taken from us. Things like nursery rhymes we don't have. Our nation's food has drastically changed.
Like fish and chips.
Yeah, but even your standard
Do you
meat.
think there's less fish and chips now?
Your meat and two veg. We're a coffee nation, not a tea nation anymore.
Why are you here today?
I'm here today because
Sorry, I just want to, before this is a 4.5-minute video, so I want to pause it in sections. But that woman was mentioning like our food has drastically changed
for the better.
Like fish and chips is still a thing in this country.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Like, what are you talking about, woman?
Oh, you can never find fish and chips. Oh, you can't find those.
Oh my god!
They're both places are fucking rich.
People love Sunday roast. I love a Sunday roast.
Yeah,
you can see every time I get tourists getting in my car, I tell them, look, if you're still in England on by Sunday, go to a pub and have a Sunday roast. Fundamental. One of one of the things you must eat in this country. And meat and veg. You get that. All these things are these things are so common. Like, what is she talking about?
Get it at the store, and no one's forcing you to drink coffee. I mean, last time I checked, they still sell tea at the store.
People are still selling tea, and she's regarding the food fundamentally, changing. You know what it is? Variety is such a good thing. And as somebody who has that variety, it's good to be able to eat Chinese food, Italian food, Japanese food, as well as English food and various other cuisines, Malaysian food. Oh my God, Thai. I love that as well. We even had German places and smorgasbords from Scandinavian places. We get all of this shit now. It's awesome.
I hate to break it to this lady, but I don't know if you guys even know this, but you have a nickname about your cuisine. You do. It's called Shit Eaters. That's what you're known for, because English cuisine is very bland.
Yes.
And one of the greatest things about Toronto, and what I miss the most about living in Toronto, was the fact that it was so multicultural that I could have I could have any cuisine from any country in the world at any time of the day or night, because there was always a place open and eat multiple places, and you could eat anything you wanted, and I loved it.
And yeah, we're London, obviously being a multicultural city. You can get everything you want in this city. I'm sure Manchester's pretty multicultural as well, Gary, and I'm sure there's a variety of different cuisines there too. But anyway, let's continue with this video.
Proud Englishman, and I've had enough of this country being taken away from us, from government more than anything, the elites, the globalists.
So it's St. George's Day.
Oh, so here we go. There's the one. There is always the one.
Token.
You know what I mean? The token. You know, he probably fucking put a lot of talcum powder on his face. Yeah, but regardless, he's dressed himself up in the red and white to make sure that, you know, when these thugs do see him, that they might think twice about beating the shit out of him.
And he's one of our national heroes. And a lot of our values, they were taught to us. Well, we learned them from him.
We've come for our grandchildren because we don't want them to grow up having to hide in a room talking about how things used to be in this country. We want.
Okay, so you know what the thing is that the world is always changing. Countries are always changing. You know, we're always evolving. The past, you know, disappears to the future. Everything changes. What once was will never be the same again. That is life. You can never go back. You can only go forward.
Yeah, demographics change, and a proportion of demographics change as time goes on.
What, Gary?
It's a demographics change as we go on, as they start to interbreed with the people who weren't immigrants, and that's how we get to be new.
And in fact, they say the more we exchange genetic information, the stronger your offspring will be anyway. So
yes.
And not only that, I bet their grandchildren, or at least their great grandchildren, will be nothing like those two.
Hopefully.
Them to be as they were in our country.
And talk to me about your sign.
My sign, obviously, it's a nod to Gideon.
Sorry, let's just go back a second. Like, are you really showing how bold you are, lady, by putting this up? Openly English, openly Christian. What? Like, you know who's openly English and openly Christian? It's Gary. And does he fucking throw it in your face? No. Like, it's like, what is this woman doing?
And he doesn't have to hide it.
He doesn't have to hide it either.
Gary, are you being persecuted? Or if someone has a gun to your head, blink twice. Are you hiding in your room, Gary?
No.
All right,
<laughs>
here we go.
Obviously, it's a nod to Gideon Flater with regards to the openly Jewish on the street, which I totally disagree with. We should be completely equal in our country, and we're not.
If you are...
So she was upset that Jewish people on the street. Is that what she was saying?
Was it saying openly Jewish on it? She said so apparently she had a problem with that. She said, we can't have one saying you're openly Christian. Yes, you can.
Yes, she just did.
Openly Christian, but she has a problem with people being openly Jewish. And then she has an issue with equality, but she wants equality. Like, I don't know. Like, these people don't know what the hell they want. They never do, these people. They're always the same. I bet half of these motherfuckers are flat earthers.
She doesn't want equality.
If you are proud to be English, proud to be British, they will push you down. It's a government agenda.
What do you think about the state of the UK right now?
So before she answers, like, I support the England football team. Always do, always have been. You know, it's a multicultural team. I get pissed off by some of the racism some of our black players have received when they miss a penalty or whatever. You know, the daggers are out for those guys, and it very much annoys me. But I constantly tell people who don't want to support England that, listen, this is our country too. Don't make these people think that there isn't. We were born here or we're brought up here. We live here, we work here, we pay our taxes. This is just as much as our country as it is theirs. And don't let them take that away from us, and make sure we shove that shit in their face. So this guy's talking about proud to be British. Well, if you're proud to be British, then say you're proud to be British, but then
this isn't about being British. This is about them being proud to be white. It's so thinly veiled.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Anyway, let's continue. So what do you think about the state of the UK right now?
I think it's in a terrible state.
Why do you think that?
Because they're supporting the wrong things and not looking at, you know, the way like they were saying that we're trouble causing, and we're not. We're here to take back something of ours. We have all different saints' days going on, all different religious days going on. So we're just
Like St. George's Day?
Yeah.
Why do you say that we're not equal? What
Okay, so, sorry.
do you mean by that?
I just think there's a lot of unfairness going on within the country. This country, it's no longer equal to all. It used to be, or we tried to be, so back in the 90s, we were all talking about equal opportunities. Then we went into inclusivity and diversity, and somewhere along the way, we've lost ourselves, and we're not equal at all. There are some people, you know, it is that, you know, the old adage about some are more equal than others.
Could you provide some?
Okay, before she
No, wait,
provides
hold
those
on.
examples. Yeah.
There is equality, and now she's upset that she's actually been treated like she treated others in the past. So
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And with the other woman as well who was speaking, like they're talking about taking our country back and stuff like that. You know, like they really want to say, you know, I want to be the master race, but they can't just say that. You know, they are desperate. That's really what it's all about.
That's a try to follow your language.
Yeah, they have thinly veiled shit, because that's what it really all about. Because when you hear their arguments, none of it makes sense. You don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. So anyway, can you provide some examples of like where there's inequality? Let's see.
Some examples of where like it's happened to you.
I probably don't really want to say anything.
And you said the country being taken.
She doesn't want to say anything. I mean, here's her opportunity to basically speak her mind and prove, you know, all of these things, and then she doesn't want to say anything because she's got nothing to say.
Right.
He's got nothing to say. She just sees a black guy in a suit and thinks, "Damn, what the hell is he doing wearing a suit for?" You know, unless he's driving unless he's a chauffeur driver, he doesn't. You know, he shouldn't be wearing a suit. You know, like
or a doorman.
Yeah, or going back to regarding Charlie Kirk and stuff, and saying how he'd be afraid to go on an airplane if he saw a black man as a pilot. Like these people fundamentally think that certain jobs are only meant for white people. Only things are meant for white people.
White men.
And white men especially, yeah.
That guy about the pilot thing, there was a guy who said that about a female pilot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, and you said the country's been taken away from you. Okay.
Taken away from you. Could you give some examples of what you mean by that?
Well, that's a tricky question. You chuck that in there.
And so look, he already doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. You know, it's a tricky question. I mean, if you're so confident by saying that shit, then have an answer to that shit.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you can have a Palestinian march through our own capital, and then you have someone with an English flag being arrested on the same day.
The police presence.
Okay, I want to quickly mention that because the people they were talking about maybe defending the cenotaph from Palestinian protesters, and the Palestinian protesters didn't give a shit about the cenotaph. They weren't going to attack it or anything like that.
They were nowhere near it.
Yeah, they were nowhere near it, but they were never going to attack it. These were flames stoked by Suella Braverman, who made all these dickhead white supremacists believe that, you know, Palestinian protests had an issue with the cenotaph, and they were going to destroy it. But the only people who caused a ruckus were the cenotaph supporters. You know, like the people on Remembrance Day who started causing riots, and as they usually do, and they did the same on St. George's Day. I mean, they're no different. Go on, Gary.
I was just going to say, yeah, they're the ones who did like damage to bloody cenotaph, not for the people who were nowhere near it.
Exactly.
And peaceful. They were peaceful.
Yeah, they were. The Palestinian protesters always have been. And when you saw the clips of them at the Waterloo Station and Victoria Station, all fucking squaring up to each other, you know, like telling them to fuck off back to your own country or whatever, and those people are telling them, well, mate, this is my fucking country. You know, I just happen to be a racist yob like you guys. You know, it's just so funny. You know, so these people are so stupid. They have such a chip on their shoulder. They really do, because they are the white people who are not part of the 1%, and they somehow feel like they should be. You know,
and the 1% have told them, you know, it's those guys' fault over there.
Yeah. They hear it from other white people, yeah.
Every time they've actually been against me, I'm just an innocent English woman standing up and just putting my voice, which is my right to do so.
For example, when it was Armistice Day, we saw.
Okay, so the reason why the police are there is because you guys are writing yobs who can't help themselves and,
Right, so
and whack police with sticks, police horses with sticks. You know, go on.
As I said,
Gary.
Susan Hall is that racist woman who's been like going after Fabian, after Sadiq Khan by like accusing him of all this flaming racist shit. Like accusing him of being like in bed with like imams and all this sort of stuff. So
yeah. Sadiq Khan, the guy who's like pro-trans and pro-gay, that particular.
Yes.
I know. Yeah, it's so weird, huh? But these guys aren't pro-gay or pro-trans whatsoever. Yet they call him backwards. Look, I'm no fan of Sadiq Khan. Why do you start a fight? Why are you starting a fight?
They're just upset that these people are out there doing dumb shit and spreading hate.
This one. But regarding vote for Susan Hall, but yeah, I have my issues with Sadiq Khan, but it's nothing to do with his religious background and stuff like that. It's just regarding what he's done with some of the roads, which has affected me personally. But a lot of people have an issue with Sadiq Khan. It's simply because he's brown, and maybe he has some liberal causes as well when it comes to some of the programs that he's created. That's really it.
I have a big problem with this sign because it should say not no. Just
not
saying.
ULEZ. ULEZ is the ultra low emission zone. That's what it means.
Oh no, I thought it was a person. Pardon me.
No, ULEZ.
Yeah.
Because it says vote Susan Hall, and then you'd think they'd want to say not for this other person. So yeah, the sign still is horrible.
The paper mile thing, I'm not so sure about, but anyway, let's go.
A lot of violence going on between protesters and the police. Do you think that perhaps this is tainting the image of, for example, people here today and the cause they're trying to represent?
I personally don't think it does, because I think it's the government and the Met Police failing to provide an adequate level of care, so people feel as if they have to step up and take it into their own hands.
I came on the day when we protected the cenotaph and also the...
Do you think you protected the cenotaph?
We weren't even allowed near it.
There were reports of clashes here.
See, they weren't even allowed near it, and nothing happened to the senator. He said it himself, because if any, oh God, these guys are so full of shit.
Today between the protesters and the police. What do you think of that?
I'm not sure how true that is.
I haven't seen any clashes.
Where were the clashes? Lies will always be found out, and that's a lie.
I didn't see that. I did not see.
This is it today.
Okay.
For example, a police horse was hit in the face with an umbrella. What do you think of that?
Let's just say that's true. That never should have happened. Yes, that man needs to be arrested if he did that.
There you go. I mean,
a horse was hit?
A police horse.
When it comes to rioting, police tend to be on horses so they can be
I know.
amongst the people. Yeah.
I just couldn't see someone hit
Hello,
the
Mr.
horse.
System.
Yeah, with an umbrella.
With an umbrella or some sort of baton of some sort, I guess. Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, well, they've done it before. They did it during the time of the cenotaph. Funny enough, they attacked the horse there. Yeah, I'm not surprised that these jobs do that.
That's disgusting because I mean there are good and bad people out there, but I don't think animals can be bad. I mean, animals can do aggressive stuff because it's in their nature and they have to eat or protect themselves. But to attack a horse, that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So look, one thing Ginger Greek is a fan of is James O'Brien. I personally don't mind James O'Brien too much. I think he can be a bit wrong on some issues, but overall I think he's on the right side of most issues. And here he is talking to a Brexiter or Brexitter, as this person says. And let's hear the conversation.
In order to negotiate the issue.
Who's that shouting in the background?
It's my mum.
Okay.
do apologise.
That's all right. It kind of goes with the
yeah,
territory for people who call themselves Brexiteers, doesn't it?
Yes. So basically, in order to negotiate with those people who want second referendum, why don't we make it more democratic by introducing a PR election at the same time?
Right. Yes.
Combine
So
the
we change
two?
our entire electoral system by the end of March.
Well, it's not going to happen, but it's.
What do you think you won, Robert?
What I would like is.
What do you think you won?
What I want is basically our whole governance, or the way that the wealth controls our country.
No. So what do you think? What do you think you won?
Well,
he's basically saying, now you got Brexit. Whatever you think you've won, and so just so you know what you're talking about.
Just about to explain that. I want.
No, not want. Won. WON. What do you think you
I
won?
won. A slap in the government's face to show them that they.
That government's gone. So what did you win?
Well, that government is a reform of the continuous politicians that are put forward instead of actually giving people and.
Let's have one more
being
go.
able to recognise
Take a little pause and tell me what you think you won.
What I won.
Yeah.
I won a vote to leave the EU.
No, I know that bit, but what did you win? What was the prize?
To actually undress our politicians, if that's a better way to actually put it, because
It's even worse, incredibly. You almost deserve credit for that. So what you won to undress our politicians. And who's
So
going to
then
be in charge of Brexit?
Well, the way that they're dealing with Brexit is not something I agree with, because quite frankly, I would be negotiating
now we're back to silly rhetoric, aren't we? And ludicrous claims.
Well, no, I don't
in
think
terms of
rhetoric,
measurable, tangible benefits, what did you win?
What did I win? I won a deregulated country.
What does that mean?
Can deregulate itself. Well, it means that we can strip away from the EU laws that we don't like.
For example?
And well, for me, one of the ones is the plug system.
Pardon?
I know it's not very hugely, but we obviously use 3-pin plugs in this country.
Yes.
The EU don't. And so basically it means that our safety aspects are a lot stronger than the generalisation of the EU.
But we're in the
So
EU.
rather than going, pardon?
We're in the EU. So you think we have to leave the EU to get 3-pin plugs?
No, it's about going back to some of the things where we are stronger at.
Yeah, go on.
So
Talk me
therefore
through
our
the plugs thing.
manufacturers-
So what can we do now with plugs that we can't do as members?
As well, we can still do it, but the manufacturers that are shipped
so
into
what
this
did you win
country,
then?
Compliancy to British law.
Compliancy to British law.
Yes.
Right.
So when you bring something into this country, it has to comply to the UK.
That's what happens
government.
already. That's why we've got 3-pin plugs, you see, and they
No,
haven't.
because they use plastic rather than metal.
No,
that
the
has
EU
air.
sets the base level above which we are all free to go, as the fact that we have gone proves. Mate, just pause for a minute and think about what you've just done. You've come live on national radio.
Yeah.
You've described yourself as a Brexiteer. You're getting told off by your mum in the background. And when I've asked you what you think you've won, you've said the right to have 3-pin plugs that we already have.
It's also
And it's
goes
10:30
further
on Monday morning, mate.
in order to.
That was beautiful. I mean, this is the thing with right wingers, just generally, like when it comes to explaining their nonsense and exactly what they want, they can't fabricate it. You know, what did you win? The right for 3-pin plugs. We had 3-pin plugs, you know, when we were in the EU. That never changed. You know what we also had? The pound. We never converted to the euro. We stayed with the pound. You know, and it was not going anytime soon. There was no talk about it changing or anything like that.
There was.
No talk about was it?
Just
Okay,
just
fair enough.
for
But
our Western friends, the 3-pin plug is just a wall plug that's a little different than ours.
I mean, look, there was always talk about change, but whether it would have changed is another thing, which is what I'm trying to get at. And on top of that, the 3-pin plug, it's like that wasn't going anywhere. I mean, that would never have changed because the drasticness of like revamping the entire country to 2-pin or whatever, it would be. You might as well tell us to drive on the other side of the road. You know, you might as well do that.
Well, there's reasons that won't work. First of all, that 2-pin plug thing is because the European electrical circuits work on a different system than ours are. We've got a difficult electrical system, so that's the reason we use the 3. Okay.
Yeah, but just going on to that guy though, that guy obviously, like he was really scratching on the wall, he was scraping the barrel to find an answer for voting for Brexit. You know, he is one
think
of the
about
people,
control, mate.
Yeah, all those dickheads you saw rioting on the street, those are the people who have ruined this country.
Yes.
You know, and they think they took our country back. They don't know who. How are they personally taking it back? They don't know how. You know, a lot of the time they voted for Brexit was simply because of xenophobia and racism and bigotry. A lot of it was to do with that. And obviously the misinformation about things like the NHS, that had its part to play too. You know, but overall, I knew it would be the worst thing to ever happen to this country. I always knew it. I'm not happy about it. And now, unfortunately, the people who vote for Brexit will never admit they fucked up the country. They are the ones. They're so busy blaming foreigners and all this and the other. Ironically, it was them. It was them. You know, these fucking stupid cunts.
It was always going to be them. It was always, whether it was Brexit or something else, it was always going to be them.
See, this is the time I'm actually going to disagree with Sam. I don't think people who voted Brexit were stupid or bad. But
no, they were so easily misinformed, and you have to be in a way. Look, you have to look. Unfortunately, Gary, look at those people who on St. George's Day March. I guarantee you, it'll be almost impossible to find somebody who voted to remain in the EU amongst those motherfuckers. And every one of those motherfuckers is a stupid fucking English cunt. Every single one of them, you know, who were there to say they all want our country back and you know and all this sort of stuff. I'm putting up a sign to say that I'm English. You know, I could go around tomorrow and put up a sign to say that I'm English. Nothing's going to happen to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but my point is that people who voted for Brexit did so because they wanted change, because they were like just going, right, nothing has changed for me. Like I voted for 3 different governments and nothing has suggested change for my situation. I'm still poor. I'm still have fuck all. I want things to change. How do I get things to change? How do I get things to change for me being in poverty? And they just went, right, the only way I can get this to change is to fundamentally change something about this country, and that's being part of the EU. Now, unfortunately, what they didn't understand is that the EU did a lot of things positive for this country, but that's unfortunate that David Cameron did a vote about something that a lot of people didn't know about.
I'm going to disagree, Gary. I think
the
majority of people voted not because they wanted change to not be poor. I mean, sure, there was people that felt that way. I think the majority of people that voted for Brexit wanted immigration to stop, and that's how they thought they'd get it.
See, Gary, I live in London, and London's the most expensive city in the country. Yet somehow, with all these poor people living in London, London were voted majority to remain. You know, so there, without a doubt, you know, like taking our country back, and you know, like all the people who voted in rural areas where there's only white people, pretty much, they're the ones who voted. They're the ones who probably see a black delivery driver come to their door to drop them off their Uber Eats, and they're shitting their pants. You know what I mean? You know, that's what these motherfuckers are. You know, there's countless clips of James O'Brien talking to Brexiteers. One guy said the reason why he voted for Brexit was there were too many Africans and Asians in the NHS. So the reason why he wanted to leave Europe is because of Africans and Asians. He wanted to leave Europe because of Africa and Asia. You know, you see how stupid that sounds? But when you're a bigoted cunt like these motherfuckers are, who can't even really express how they truly feel, but they'll sound like the racist KKK members that they genuinely are. You know, they dance around and come up with other bloody things because they know that they will sound like horrible people if they really express themselves. You know, so they're writing and fighting the police and shit like that. You know, like these are scumbags, man, absolute scumbags. I have no sympathy for Brexiters and stuff like that. They ruined this country. They did, and I can't feel sorry for them or give them a pass because things are far worse for them, let alone for me and for you as well. So fuck these guys.
And
you gotta stop shitting, man. Jesus Christ.
Not only that, the thing he won, as far as I know, because I don't know the intricate details of Brexit, generally is just higher prices for everything. Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the thing is that leaving the EU and leaving the custom unions should have been two different votes, but because people in this country didn't know that they were two different things, they just combined it into one. And the thing is that we could have, even the EU said we could have remained part of the customs union, and we decided to leave it, which is something which was what was detrimental. Because if we stayed part of the customs union, a lot of our food prices would still be reasonable.
I agree. Now look, I'm going to end our St. George's Day thing with this. There is actually a Palestine clip I missed out, by the way, which I want to get back to, but check this out. This is so true, by the way, and it's gonna make you laugh. Hopefully, we need a bit of levity. Things white people say that let you know they're low-key racist.
Tell me something that white people say to let you know that they're low-key racist.
Happy you asked. I made a list. Why is everything about race? Or why do you make everything about race? I'm okay with it as long as they came here legally. Doesn't matter if you're polka dot, green, purple. I love everyone the same. I'm colorblind. I teach my kids not to see color. I'm not racist. Holds up a picture of themselves with a black friend or relative. I've never had it easy. In response to a conversation about privilege. What about White History Month? Huh? Why don't we get one of those? Why can you guys say it to each other if I can't say it? You don't sound black. You're a very well-spoken person. You should have just complied. Did you go to college on an athletic scholarship? That was over 400 years ago. Get over it. I didn't own slaves personally. I'm not racist. I like Asian women. How is that even racist? Calm down. Everyone's just so sensitive. Why do you always bring up...
Tell me something.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit funny. Regarding how everyone, I'm not sure if you could have saw what she was talking about, but regarding how can you guys say it and I can't? She was talking about the N-word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So, I got some more. And by the way, this is a clip I really wanted to show. I'm sorry, I missed this one out. This was also to do with the Colombia protests regarding Israel. I'm sorry for missing out. Here we go.
Placed under arrest. We are going to continue to make arrests until this crowd disperses. You need to disperse now.
How far y'all want to take it? It goes further than that.
Look at that. That is a protest, baby. So it takes the state trooper to come in. Takes the state trooper to come in now. Police with bicycles to make as barriers. See, so much for the First Amendment, right?
Yeah, free speech, my ass.
That's what I'm saying.
Freedom of
America's
assembly,
shit,
freedom of speech.
man. I'm telling you, if there's a whole bunch of white nationalists in there, these police will be protecting them.
Oh, freedom of reprisals from your government. That's in the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Free Palestine!
Look at that, man. What are they going to do? Kill these kids? There'll be no different to the mass shootings of schools. They want to kill these kids, I guarantee you.
Yeah, it's actually kids, they're going to get fucked up.
They're hippie liberals, man. They want to kill them. Look at them.
If the cops weren't there, the protest would have run itself through, and they would have come back the next day. There'd be no violence. If the cops continued or did come, I would suggest to protesters to lie down and be limp, because there's thousands of them. What are they going to do?
Yeah,
basically be a dead fish, and see how tight it is for them to rest them dead. Those who get sick of trying to pick them up. Anyway.
Okay, so I just got a few clips now. Just hey, shut up, you. So we're gonna go into
Sam's TikTok treasures.
All right, just a whole mixed bag of TikTok clips we can talk about. Have you guys heard of a girl called Pearl Davis?
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
All right, check.
I wish I
had.
had. But yes, I have heard of it.
No, I'm no fan of Michael Knowles. Yeah, I
He's a
despise him. He's a twat. But she wants to be such a pick me that in a way she ends up being swallowed. And you see what I mean, because she's the anti-woman, Christine. If you don't know who she is, you know she's become famous for being a woman who shits on women, you know, and so that they belong in the kitchen, shouldn't vote, doesn't deserve equal status, yada yada yada. Needs to be married, have kids, all of that. She's 29 years old, by the way, and she's still not married, and she has no kids. So she doesn't. She's the typical person who goes on about who shits on their own people. But then we'll never do it herself. Here we go.
Do you think adultery is grounds for divorce? I thought you said we're going to ban divorce.
Pearl Davis is at the end of the life cycle of a pygmy Shah. For those of you who don't know who she is, she's a conservative podcaster who believes in men's rights and supports misogynists and incels. She preaches that women expire after a certain age. That number has changed from 25 to 30 to 35. She's currently 29 years old and unmarried. She also believes that abortion should be banned. And in this argument with a white man conservative, she argues that divorce should also be banned. She also says that it should be mandatory to have genetic testing when a baby is born to make sure that the man doesn't have to raise a baby who's not his. She's a strong advocate for men's rights. But here comes what she didn't expect. This white man conservative does not agree with her and gets very offended to suggest that mandatory genetic testing at birth is suggesting that his wife has whored around, which is an insult to him. Then she argues, oh, that's not what I meant. I'm just trying to protect men's rights. Mr. White Man conservative pushes back to her. Then she goes, okay, not mandatory. Maybe it could be a choice. Also, it's now voluntary paternity testing. And then she goes, no, it needs to be mandatory. Then he goes, then you're telling men what to do. This is what happens to pygmies. They discard themselves, throw women under the bus to appeal to men. But the same men that they have sucked off don't want them. Now Pearl has nobody by her side. The men that she promotes don't want to marry her, don't even want to listen to what she has to say. Because let's face it, if she's a misogynist, even just having a platform and having an opinion is a no-go for these men. That's feminist stuff, the people that she hates, the people that she stands against. This is the end of the life cycle of a pygmy. She's sufficiently pissed everybody off. No women nor men want her. It's a sad and lonely existence. All she has to her name is a podcast where she just likes to hear her own voice, only to be known as to people as a master in yapology. For any of you women out there who have ever discarded yourself or other women to appeal to men at any degree, this is a cautionary tale. It's what's coming for you. The only way for a woman to succeed is to ally with the right women. Conservatives and incels have made Pearl famous, but those men don't want a woman to have a voice. The same men that have given her validation for her yapping are now angry and pissed off that she's telling them what to do. This is how you end up with nobody. And in this society, being alone is the worst position you can put yourself in. Pearl had a whole career looking down on feminists, the same women who gave her the possibility to have a platform and a voice, only to be guillotined by the same men that she validated and sucked off. The life cycle of a pick-me.
Do you think adultery is grounds?
There you go. That's Pearl for you. Yeah, sorry, I realized how much this lady was talking regarding her. But yes, nevertheless, Pearl is your stereotypical pick-me. She wants men to dominate women, but then she herself is trying to dominate men by telling them how they should live as misogynists and giving them advice as misogynists. But it's almost like an oxymoron. You know, it's very weird in a way. So, yeah, on to the next clip.
Oh, well, isn't that the truth though? The women that go on about there not being a reason for feminism or it being wrong, do not realize that the only reason they're allowed to vote and have this opinion and express this opinion is because feminism existed. Like, idiots.
Now, talking of feminism and as well as chivalry, I thought this was quite funny. Let's see if you guys find it funny. I thought it was hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but funny.
I'm standing on the train and look at all these men. What happened to giving up your seat for women? No man offered me a seat. Excuse me, are you going to get up?
What?
Are you going to get up?
Are you pregnant?
No.
Are you for equality?
Yes.
Then fuck off.
No respect. Chivalry is dead.
It wasn't that great.
I loved it.
Great. I loved it too. You know, because yeah, you know, personally, I give up my seat to anyone who's handicapped, you know, anyone who's elderly or pregnant. If you or maybe if they're a bit on the hefty side and you know that they are struggling and it'd be better for them to sit down, I'm likely to do that too. But woman, if you can stand up straight on your own without needing the seat, then you should have gotten a train a bit earlier when you would have got a seat. You know, there's all of this, this level of chivalry just drives me nuts. One moment you're for equality, and then you want chivalry. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you want to open the door, that's up to you. I always think the first person there should open the door for everyone, whether you're a man or a woman. It's just not chivalry. It's just being polite, doing the right thing, no matter what sex you are. And giving up your seat to an able-bodied person is not chivalry. It's stupidity.
Well, being British, and Gary can vouch for this, like we just hold our doors open for everyone, regardless, you know, regardless of the gender or who they are. Even if this person is fit as a fucking fiddle, fit as a butcher's dog, you know, we'll still hold the door open for them. That's who we are as Brits. Now, check this out. This is China. This is scary. And in my opinion, these are going to be our overlords. Check it out.
The videos of the Chinese kindergartners being absolutely elite at everything that they do, they occupy 90% of my brain power right now. In kindergarten, they just hand them a basketball and they say, time to work on your handles. Look at this. We have a generation full of iPad kids, and this is what they're doing. They're just elite at everything they do. They're more advanced than probably 8th graders.
Look at we're on a space hopper.
These are all our look at this. Look what they're doing. These are all our future bosses. This isn't like, look, they even know how to cook. This isn't like, oh, we went down the local gymnastics and these are the top of the top. No, this is just like, recess.
And they're having
time
fun.
to work on your cooking skills and how to be the absolute greatest. Look at this. They just give them basketball.
Look at the coordination.
More, and I'm going
oh my god!
More. I know a lot about Japanese baseball culture. It's crazy, but I need to know more. This is unbelievable. Can you imagine trying this in America?
Look at that! Oh my god!
I'm serious. Can
How young they are, and they're doing this.
One of the kids would start crying. The other would be like, "Why is my basketball not inflated like the other basketball?" Then the other one would call their parents. We're doomed. We're doomed. The videos of the
That's impressive. You have to admit.
Oh, that's very impressive.
Yeah, like the way their kids operate. And
The timing for when they're bouncing the balls and they just moved over one, that's got to be impeccable to do that.
Yeah,
it's impressive on the level that these kids are taught to, work as a group, to learn skills like, building a community and how to cook and how to, be better citizens and work hard at what they're doing.
But that some of the stuff they're doing, like the thing with the basketballs, like that level of coordination is frighteningly incredible, and it's something that you could never see happening here in not in the UK, everywhere else in the world. Yeah, we just don't do this. We can't even fathom this. And if these people are at a young age, they're doing this at kindergarten, which in my opinion is the right age to do these sort of things. You're getting them self-sufficient at an early age by teaching them how to fucking cook, for fuck's sake. Wow, man, these kids are going to grow up amazing.
And to work as a team and not be selfish.
This is absolutely fantastic. All right, let's laugh at some Donald Trump. It's funny because his trial's happening right now, and I didn't really want to do too much of a Donald Trump show today. It's crazy how people constantly say everyone else is corrupt. Yeah, this guy's got indictments coming at the Wahoo or Yazoo or whatever the terminology is, and nobody.
You see how
thinks
messy my house is.
It's all right, but anything. Yeah, so for some reason, nobody thinks he's guilty of anything. It's ridiculous. Anyway, regardless, the Good Liars, who are one of my favorite people on YouTube right now, they're walking around New York where the trial's happening, taking the piss.
Donald Trump said that a lot of people are going to come here to support him. We're going to take a look, see how many people are here. We're expecting there to be a lot of Trump supporters.
Just a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
It's a big day.
We are here outside the day 5 of the Trump hush money trial here, and there are twos of supporters here of Donald Trump. 1, 2 supporters here supporting Donald Trump. Big turnout, as we were expecting. As Donald Trump promised, there'd be a lot
of people here to show their support. So 1, 2.
Oh wait, sorry, 3.
3.
That guy's a support too.
Him too. So 3 and
4.
4.
4. How many are there? 4? 5?
1, 2,
5.
3, 4, 5. 5. Is that a good compromise though? 5.
Yeah, we need to change our previous statement. There are not just 2 Trump supporters here. Apparently, there are 5.
5 Trump supporters.
So it's massive.
Honestly, I see 4, but I'm willing to compromise a little bit on it.
I see the 3, and maybe that is 4. But I think that guy is. I don't think he's Trump supporter. He's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
Donald Trump said that a lot of people.
Now, what it is as well, Trump's been having to go to court every day, and you have to do that for a while. But what he wanted was like a massive circus of supporters, and he's apparently extremely upset and disappointed that there's nobody there to support him. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it, because he does think the world. Revolves around him. So, all right, Gary, I hope you don't mind. This is a God channel. They get pranked. So, this is quite funny, in my opinion. All right, check it out.
Stephen says, growing up on the mean streets of West Philadelphia, I never dreamed that I would even be able to own TV equipment to view a channel such as yours. What made this all possible for me was the loving embrace of my auntie stationed in Bel Air. It was there that I first caught a glimpse of your channel and knew from that moment on that my circle of trusted faces had grown substantially. Upon one of my many visits back to West Philadelphia before the recession hit, I visited the playground where I spent most of my days shooting some basketball, but also just chilling out and relaxing.
I don't think that story is genuine. I think the guy is a clown. He's a joker. He's been sending that material into all the programs.
All right, okay, well, let's delete him.
Okay.
And we'll permanently delete him from the list.
Apparently, the story is, what he's been sending through is the story of the Prince of Bel-Air, the black guy.
Oh, yes, I know. Yes, yes.
No, you don't know.
Okay, please pray for my cousin Carlton and my uncle Phil, who have both been having a very hard time finding jobs. Thank you so much, Will. So that's for Carlton and Phil, who are having trouble finding jobs. Stephen.
Oh God, these guys are so oblivious, especially
But
her. Never seen.
But she knows, and then she goes right on to the next statement.
Yeah.
It's also Bel Air. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
So, what is impressive in 2024? But back in 1988, this was possible. What is? You guys know? Oh, you mean the kids? Well, I never saw anything like that happening in.
No,
Back
not
in
in 88.
98.
No, I don't agree.
Anyways, let's get on to the next one now. Yeah, this is about the TikTok ban. Let's check it out. There we go.
Hello, Americans. Stop calling me. We get it. You want your little TikTok, but this ain't a vote. It's not a democracy. Oh, you don't get to decide what you look at. I do. I don't represent you guys. I represent important Americans, the illionaires. There's one really important American named Mark Zuckerberg who does not like TikTok. And neither does my Meta stock. And you Chinese TikTok commies, stop telling your user base to exercise their right to petition the government. It's fucking annoying. It's not really even a TikTok ban per se. It's about breaking the app or connecting American ownership. Connect for victory. You guys don't want a Chinese app, even though they moved all the American user data to America. Chinese, Japanese, dirty-knees, look at these. Listen, y'all been talking on there a lot, or what do you call it, yapping? Y'all been yapping a lot, and I don't like it. Saying you don't like certain foreign events that are going on, words that end in "sad." Frankly, you're not supposed to know about that. I hear you. We won't give you health care, won't up the minimum wage. Now we're taking away an app where a lot of Americans make their livelihood, have businesses. Like, you don't understand. My Meta stock is doing so bad. Hello, American.
And I like that clip because that pretty much boils down to why TikTok was banned. I've spoken to some people about it, and they're not too fussed about it. Like, I'm shocked, not
every person's on it, man.
No, but I'm talking to Americans about this. I'll tell you who I've spoken to. I spoke to Cheeto and I spoke to Block. Block, he said there'll be another platform, but people are already on this platform making their livelihood on this platform.
It's not the platform; it's the censorship part that's wrong.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you phrased me. I tried to. Yeah, that too. I totally agree. And the fact that they couldn't wait to ban it. I've never seen such a scuffle by the politicians to ban TikTok. It was unbelievable. And once again, there's so much shit going on in the States where people really need help, but we're going to ban fucking TikTok. We're not going to house the homeless, all these sort of things. We're going to ban fucking TikTok. That's the priority, and obviously when it comes to Israel and Palestine, they're unhappy about that. But you know what? Even though TikTok is doing all this shit, you can still come across, pro-Palestinian content on Facebook and YouTube and Google and Twitter as well. It's not like it's not allowed there too. So why is TikTok being so unfairly targeted? And obviously because no Americans control it. But it's disgraceful. Like, once again, the moniker of freedom, the land of the free, and all of this shit, free enterprise and all of that bollocks. It just shows you the hypocrisy of America once again. You know what I mean? They won't let people protest on the streets when it comes to Palestine, and now they won't let people fucking go on TikTok either. And whether this ban gets reversed or whatever, I'm not so sure.
How do they enforce it?
Well, it'll no longer be on the App Store, but that's for a start. I really don't know, to tell you the truth.
So what happens if you've already downloaded it? Are they just going to start
blocking it? Maybe the algorithm or something like that. But they want to sell some of its stock so they can Americanize it for some reason and shit like that. But yeah, I mean, money does play a part, but I think it's also to do with propaganda as well. Like, they just don't like all the Israeli, like people have an algorithm, but if certain things are really popular on the algorithm, regardless of what you like or not, it might end up coming on your screen, like all the pro-Palestinian stuff. You might be totally oblivious of what's happening in Palestine and Israel. But if it's really popular with everyone else, then it's going to come up on your screen regardless of whether you want to watch that shit or not. As you're scrolling, you'll come up to some pro-Palestinian stuff, and they're really upset by that. They don't want people coming across that whatsoever. And you see look, Israel, as far as I'm concerned, is doomed. You saw the next generation of kids in these universities protesting for Palestine. They're done for. Like, the next generation are not going to be so nice, or give a shit, and the generation after that is going to be the same. They can't win. But for years, they've always made Israel to be this beacon of things, and Muslims to be wankers, especially after 9/11. But within 25 years, things have just changed on their heads. It's incredible. So, yeah, but going back to TikTok ban itself, I'm so angry by this, and it's not even my country that it's getting banned in. That's what I find so weird. I'm insulted by this. This is stupid.
It's insulting when you have censorship, and not even censorship. I mean, censorship is never really a good idea, but just out of greed, that's why they're doing it. And the American people are swallowing it and still believe they live in the land of the free, like you said.
Donald Trump wanted TikTok to be banned, and lots of Republicans wanted TikTok to be banned. But the ban got signed under Democrat Joe Biden. And in my opinion, this is going to really be quite negative on his re-election. Because when you have 150 million Americans using TikTok and knowing that it's going to be banned, and the guy who signed that ban, because he had to pass the House and the Senate, and it's incredible how these anti-Israeli things can just pass the House and the Senate just like that. You want to give billions to Israel? No problem. The House and Senate agrees. You want to ban TikTok? No problem. The House and the Senate agrees, and then it's just up to Biden to sign it. And you know what? The ironic thing is, Biden has a TikTok account.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is just incredible.
Because he wants to connect to young voters, but at the same time, he's going to alienate a lot of his voters now.
Fucking boomers, man. They're so stupid. They really think,
yeah,
they can do no wrong. Oh, I'm not Donald Trump. That means people are going to vote for me. I could take away TikTok, but at least I'm not Donald Trump. You pissed off so many fucking people right now, regardless, and they're not going to. They don't give a damn if you're Donald Trump or not. They won't vote for Trump, but they won't vote for you either. And not voting for you means that it's going to make it easier for Trump, because people are going to vote for Trump regardless. Whoever supports him, they're never going to change their opinion. The diehards, and no one's going to jump ship to fucking Biden. They'd rather just not vote. I'm so disappointed by this. I really am that this happened. I was shocked for a social media app to be banned. So Gary, you got anything to add? Sorry, Gary?
No. Sorry. I wish I did, but it's just like until like I mean, like there's nothing more I can say because like literally it's like America's decided to get rid of an app. Okay, well you try and enforce that because as I said before, what are you going to do? Like there's people who've downloaded it and they're going to start like soft banning it and they're going to stop people being able to access certain material from it. I mean, what they're going to do?
Yeah, exactly. So, and anyone on the right who would have supported it but know that Joe Biden has banned it, they're going to falsely pretend that they're they're against the TikTok ban because it just makes Joe Biden look like shit.
Yes.
As well. So I got a news clip here. So where is TikTok vows to fight the unconscionable use ban by let me see. 1 second. I'm gonna read a news article on this. There we go. So TikTok vows to fight the unconstitutional ban. TikTok says it will challenge in court an unconstitutional law that could result in it being sold or banned in the United States. President Biden signed into law a bill which gives the social media platform Chinese owners ByteDance 9 months to divest the app, or it will be blocked in the US. The law has been introduced because of concerns TikTok might share user data with the Chinese government, claims it is always denied. We are confident that we will keep fighting for your rights in court, says TikTok boss Xu Zishu. I hope I said that correctly.
By the way, TikTok isn't a Chinese flaming app. It's from Singapore.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Oh, I know the owner is from Singapore, Xu Zishu, but but we're talking about stupid American.
What's that noise?
It's birds.
Yeah,
Sounds like farts.
Yeah, he's making little gruffs. The fact that the Constitution are on our side, rest assured, we aren't going anywhere. Well, it doesn't matter about the Constitution being on your side. What we've come to realize is that when it comes to lawmakers, and the people in charge, the Constitution, the amendments, they don't mean shit. It's what they want that matters. In a video posted on the platform, he lambasted the bill and called for people to share their stories of how TikTok has improved their lives. Make no mistake, that's not going to mean shit. You think that's going to you show that to a Republican politician, they're going to give a fuck about that? It could be a fellow Republican voter. They still won't give a fuck about that. Make no mistake, this is a ban on TikTok and a ban on you and your voice, he said. In a separate statement, TikTok added that it believed the facts and the law were clearly on its side. The fact is, we have invested billions of dollars to keep US data safe and our platform free from outside influence and manipulation, it said. The measure was passed as part of a package of 4 bills, which included military aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, and other US partners of the Indo-Pacific region. So imagine all this money going over abroad when Americans need it the most, like their tax money, like it's just a joke. It had widespread support from lawmakers, with 79 senators voting for it and 18 against it. I know Ro Khanna was against it. For years, we've allowed the Chinese Communist Party to control one of the most popular apps in America. That was dangerously short-sighted, said Senator Mark Rubio, the top Republican on the Intelligence Committee. A new law is going to require a Chinese owner to sell the app. This is a good move for America, he added. TikTok has said ByteDance is not an agent of China or any other country, but ByteDance says it's not a Chinese firm, pointing to the global investment firm that owns 60% of it. Experts have told BBC the bill is a big deal, but has warned it faces multiple hurdles. It could take several years before the app is blocked as legal action, likely all the way to the Supreme Court would delay the process. In November, U.S. federal judge in Montana blocked an effort to ban TikTok within the state. The popularity of the app with young Americans could also be problematic. About 2 in 3 young people in the U.S. have a TikTok account, said Andrew Przybylski, professor of human behavior and technology at Oxford University. The primary challenge is going to be on freedom of speech and freedom of expression. The UN Charter on the Rights of the Child is quite specific. young people have a right to information, a right to play. So I think it can be challenged on those grounds. Jennifer Huddleston from Cato Institute in Washington said, any sale might be delayed because of the considerable regulatory scrutiny it would attract. 9 months is a rather quick time frame for the size of a transaction. It's something that is likely to have further regulatory scrutiny, even without the requirements in this proposal, she said. The question remains, what does it mean to even sell TikTok in the US? Is that truly possible? And what would a buyer look like? Exactly who would be able to buy and operate it is also a big question. The price would likely be in the tens of billions of dollars, meaning there would be few potential buyers. Brooke Erin Duffy, Associate Professor of Communication at Cornell University, said TikTok users in the US have been bracing themselves for a ban for quite some time. The Senate decision injects a heightened level of uncertainty into the livelihoods of countless content creators, influencers, and small business owners, she said. If it's not sold in time, the app could be blocked in the country. The US says this because it's concerned TikTok could be used to spy on Americans or to spread propaganda. TikTok gathers a similar kinds of data to other apps, but the US is concerned that this data could fall in the hands of the Chinese government, claims the company has always contested. Elsewhere, the firm has agreed to suspend its TikTok Lite rewards program, which pays users to spend time on the app in France and Spain. European Commissioner Thierry Breton said that the feature was toxic and addictive, particularly when used by children, and threatened to block it unless action was taken. The EU said its investigation into the feature would continue. This is just, it's so disgraceful. Like, just seeing all of it.
Sorry, so TikTok is the only thing that's addictive on the internet. So that's the problem. And they're worried that they're going to get intel on Americans. What are they going to learn? Dance moves?
Yeah, exactly. Challenge, provide your statement argument without using Biden Trump as an anchor, but on the statement alone, the facts only. Well, I'm just saying that I'm just saying.
Well, TRD, we have to talk about Biden in this one because he's the one who signed off on the legislation.
And Trump said that it was a bad move, and Trump wanted to sign off it before. But the point is that the politicians just generally, I'm not making. When you say challenge, like how else am I supposed to talk about this? Like what this is such an American thing, man. Oh my God, this is stupid American cunt. Honestly, that's the most stupidest American thing I've heard today, man. It's the sort of shit you guys say, like, oh God.
It's actually a part of the story that Biden signed it. I mean, if it were Trump to sign it, we would have said Trump. If it were Sheila Smith from down the block, we would have said Sheila Smith. It has nothing. That is irrelevant.
Yeah, politicians created this law, dude. You can't create this ban, in government without politicians, especially the president of the United States, to sign off on this. TikTok, America used to reward stupidity, and TikTok, China is. Well, look, we have the same TikTok as you guys, dude. But it's not supposed to be educational. It can be, but it's not necessarily supposed to be. It's like YouTube. It's not supposed to be educational. It can definitely be. You can get a proper full-time university level state of education on YouTube. There's so much shit out there. At the same time, if you want to watch cats slap dogs with their paws, you can watch that shit too.
It's not supposed to be anything other than how you use it. For instance, I'm using YouTube right now to brush up and expand my French. But I also watch videos like music videos on it. So
go on, Gary. Please.
I'm going to say, like, I'm probably going to live with Olivia. I'm literally like doing what you used to do, which is literally try not to fall asleep on the phone chair. But what I'm going to say is that, like as I said, TikTok should be there because people want to do dances or just want to put out like just content for other people to watch. Whether it be like some people put it out for wrestling moves, some people put it out there for just sharing their opinions about whatever subject they want. It's cool.
TLD, if you were here earlier, you would have seen so much actual informative content that I was showing to my colleagues here, and it was all from TikTok. You know, I'm the TikTok guy in this group. You know, and I'm showing them clips of Jewish people protesting Palestine, among other Palestinian protesters who are not scared of their well-being by being Jewish, because the narrative on the American media is that, you know, all these protests, pro-Palestine protests, are anti-Semitic, but there's Jews in those protests protesting alongside
I see later.
non-Jewish people. Sorry?
I'll see you later. I've got to go to bed. I'm knackered, mate.
Okay, mate, guys.
Oh,
I'll catch
good
you
night,
later,
Gary.
mate.
Bye.
Bye.
The video on China TikTok. I'm not aware of what is censored and what isn't. The point is that, you know, I've watched all types of videos on TikTok, funny ones, stupid ones that try to sell me things, whatever. Apparently, some of our data is going to be sold to the China, or being given to the Chinese Communist Party. Well, if all they're going to find out is that I like to jerk off to trans porn now and again, and if that's what it means for them to find out about me, then so be it. I have no problem with it. If they find out that I happen to like certain television shows, I don't give a shit. It's not going to change me in any way. I know certain people might have certain things to hide, but if they have certain things to hide, then that says a lot about them. Anything else?
And
to add, Chris?
they're not doing it on TikTok. Whatever. If there's some, you know, if you're a secret agent, you're not sharing that shit on fucking TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. My parrots on my own. We have two TikTok channels. We have the NerdTube one, and I've got my own personal one. And on my own personal one, I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you what I do. This is on my TikTok channel. Oi, Sonny. Sorry, Icky. Put a cork in it.
My chipmunk Dave won't let me pet him anymore because I think Dave's actually pregnant.
Oh, Dave's a girl.
I think so, yeah. Her tummy's all funny, big, and her titties are a little bit bigger, so it is spring.
Okay, so I'll show you a couple of clips from my TikTok. Are you looking forward to this, Chris?
Yes. Yeah.
Very good. So this is something I posted when my birds were going to bed. This is what I posted. All right. I had to go to bed. I put this cover on about maybe 5 minutes ago. It's dark now. And I want to show you how my birds decide to sleep. Now, there's several perches. They can chill on that. But this is what they do. All three of them are in this little corner right here. I don't know why. I don't know why they want to do that. I don't know how they can sleep like this. But this is what they do. Very unique. Maybe they're cuddling up to each other for warmth, but they don't need warmth. Trust me, my room is warm enough. But yeah, this is their style. Anyway, I don't want to disturb them too much.
They want to be close to their daddy.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And I got this one. Oh, let's just try this one. Couple of big fat birds on my hand.
Yeah. Oh no, the Chinese are going to take over the
on
world.
My hand. The other big fat bird is on my phone. Like, you can hear me breathing phone like I'm a bloody deep sea diver. They're eating my phone. They're eating my phone. And they're gone.
That's it. The Chinese are going to take over.
Trio of big, fat, beautiful birds preening each other.
Chilling on the TV. I get some nice heat off my TV. I wish I never said anything because they were pruning each other hardcore. Like a trio of prunation. Aren't you, my babies? Dude, biting with a foot. Chewing on all types of body parts and pruning all types of body parts. I think Icky was just chewing on Lemon's leg just then. Aren't you, my babies? Oh. Lemon's on the move. Just these two lads now. Sausage first. Hey, baby girl. How you doing? Let's see if I can get her on one hand. I'm really zoomed in on it. Zoom out a little bit. Yeah. Lovely. There we go. Good girl. Good, beautiful girl. Look at her. Isn't she gorgeous? I got lemon. She's in my hand, fellas. She ain't got my finger. I know. Do you want to put her back? Back with the lads. They love the TV. I think it gives them a lot of warmth. Lots of cleanup I have to do after. Sorry about the music being a bit overwhelming. As you can imagine. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough. It's a long video.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely controversial. I mean,
what is this? I don't understand. Like, you think people don't know who we are using other social media sites? I mean, we give our names and our details. How is this any different?
I mean, they can buy any information they want about anyone in the world. It's gathered in so many different places, in so many different ways. TikTok doesn't even have to exist if a government spy agency, whatever, wants to know something about you.
Another thing as well, TLD, if you're that worried, then you personally don't use it. But to deny other people to use it, it's undemocratic. I don't like it, so you can't use it. And like I've said, so many people's businesses are through TikTok. You know, like the channels make them money, and you're taking that away from them. You know,
or they're advertising where to get their products, not just influencers, but businesses that exist on the ground in real life advertise, tell you how to get their products shipped to them, demonstrate their products.
Exactly. And I just feel that this is like if you have an issue with social media, then go after social media generally, not one aspect of it. Because there are, for me, if any social media channel needs to be targeted, it needs to be Twitter. It's a haven for white supremacists, bigots, and racists. Elon Musk has made it like that since he bought the site. So much discrimination goes on there. There's that Lib from TikTok woman, because of her. So much bad shit has happened to other people because she is targeted them because she's put herself. And she was looking for an avenue to make herself famous. She found that avenue by shitting on the transgendered, which seems to be a common thing nowadays because these bullies they like to screw over people who are weak, or they think
they're in a position of weakness due to their minority status.
Yeah, exactly.
Individuals.
Yeah.
And I only say that because I know the difference, but might not.
I'm glad. I'm very happy that you corrected me, because that is exactly what I was trying to mean. And also they do look at men who transition to women. They look at that as weakness as well. A lot of them, because why would you want to transition to a woman? You're a man.
Oh, but we're weak. Didn't you know that being a woman is awful, and we're just weak?
Exactly, and that's Twitter. And if anything needs to be targeted by the government for the misinformation they're causing and all of that, and obviously the direction that things go when it comes to harming our youth, it needs to be Twitter. I mean, it's a haven for racism.
Inciting violence. That's the big problem. Inciting violence. Yeah. Anyway.
And, you know, and also, by the way, when it comes to right-wing rhetoric, it's on Twitter as well. It's not a lefty site. People are worrying what is like it's just for libs. Now, there's a lot of right-wingers who are on Twitter as well. Loads of them with their bullshit. And it feels like old school YouTube when right-wingers would come out with bullshit and lefties would just destroy them with a content response, you know, and it reminds me of that. And that's happening quite a lot. But nevertheless, it's not like right-wingers can't use it either. They do use it. You know, their propaganda videos are out there. They're pro-Trump shit and all of that bollocks. You know, it's all there, you know. So...
But on Elon Musk's thingy, he instructs people to ban the responses by the liberal side and just sort of showcase the hate speech part, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And he's happy to. He goes on about freedom of speech, but the moment people start speaking against him, you know, he blocks them or you know, he gets rid of them. And yeah, he's full of shit. So anyway, Chris, I'm out of stuff to talk about, I'm afraid.
That's okay. I'm kind of tired, and I think we had a nice show. I mean, you know, always leave them wanting more.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless there's something I forgot.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
You forgot anything now? No. Okay. Well, yeah, just check us out. Yeah, wonderful. That's great. By the way, we have a Patreon, by the way, and there's a whole bunch of videos on our Patreon that you won't see here on NerdTube. Some of my cookery videos and some of my reviews for certain shows like Lilyhammer, which I finished watching.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to say, after you told everyone that you do reviews and that's awesome content, is that we were going to talk about TV shows, but I think we should say that and do reviews. Because Dead Boy Detective Show, you haven't finished it. I have, but
I'm only 2 episodes in. Yeah,
everyone should know there is a review coming up for that.
Yeah, there will be a review. Hopefully before the weekend's up, we'll have a review of Dead Boy Detective. But once again, we have a Patreon, so people out there, please check it out. There's a whole bunch of content just for that. So sign up to our Patreon. Sign up to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Thank you very much, Chris. And take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Over.